Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Game Junk. This is Game Junk episode number 20 for June 2014, and it is our annual E3 special. Once again, my name is Sean.
My name is Frank.
My name is Andrew.
And we are coming to you via the wonders of Google Hangouts, which we kind of did last time with Frank. This time it's all three of us, so hopefully the sound quality isn't too bad. We're kind of experimenting, seeing how it goes. This is my first time back podcasting after being on baby patrol. So
yeah, you going through withdrawals, bud, or what?
A little bit. Kind of enjoying the break, though, too. Just, watching what I want to watch, not having to worry about the latest theatrical releases and all that stuff. It's kind of nice.
I was going to ask you to go to a movie too, but screw that.
Now, I haven't been playing a ton of games, unfortunately, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of... from what I understand, you guys haven't played that much either, so probably won't be a ton of stuff we've been playing, but definitely a lot to talk about with E3. Before we get to all of that... Do you guys have anything you want to talk about with either of your respective projects? I know, Andrew, you had a little bit of a crazy E3 story. Do you want to kick things off with that?
Sure, yeah. So Citizens of Earth is on the E3 show floor right now. And, well, I guess it's over now as of today. But day one, I got a frantic telephone call from the guy Ryan who's run the company saying that the game is not working. So I had to make a few last minute crazy fixes on day one of E3 just to make sure the game would run for all the people to come watch it. So that's pretty stressful, and I guess it just goes with the territory. But moral of the story, test the game on the actual hardware at the show floor before the doors open.
Kind of makes sense.
Yep. Probably.
Anything that
Especially
can
when
go
you're running
wrong.
on PC.
Yeah, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, so you got to expect it, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
So, has there been... I saw that you were posting some previews and things. Like, has there been any kind of general consensus, like how people are receiving the game? Are you getting some good feedback?
I've heard from the guys at the show, and they have been saying that the feedback's been really good. Probably the highest profile preview I saw was from Game Informer, and they gave us actually a 5 out of 5 preview score. I don't know what that actually means. It means
you got
good.
5 stars in terms of anticipation. We'll see what happens when you actually release the game.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, that's good. That's good press.
It's definitely good.
We've had, as of last I heard, we had 2 Best of E3 nominations.
Oh, really?
From 2 outlets. 2 outlets, I think they were worthplaying.com and gamefront.com. So,
nice.
I don't know if any more came in. I haven't heard anything, but that's pretty exciting to hear. And so seeing your game listed with, Arkham Knight and Far Cry 4 is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
yeah.
Well, congrats on that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
And Frank, what about you? I know, was Lost Orbit at E3?
I don't ask for much from the listeners. I don't think I've ever asked for anything from the listeners.
We've asked for a few things probably at some point.
I don't think so. I give and I give and I give. So this time I'm asking, give to me. Please. Go, if you're on Steam, I know all you fuckers are, go on Steam, go to Greenlight, look up Lost Orbit, and vote yes. Yes, you would buy this game. That's all I'm ever going to ask for now. I would truly appreciate it. We're so close to Steam Greenlight. Lost Orbit on Steam Greenlight. Do it now. And if I find out you didn't, there's It's going to be hell of a pay.
Let me just double check and make sure I actually voted for this.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
I know I did.
Now, Frank, you were at the Niagara Falls Comic Con
Yep.
showing off the game. Oh, we got the trailer playing here. Now,
Yeah, listen to those groovy tunes, baby. Oh yeah.
now, how did that go?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Not as much video game stuff as I was hoping. I thought there'd be a lot more retro game sales and weird video game stuff, but not a lot at all. I was disappointed in that. I was hoping to do a little digging, a little picking.
Yeah.
And it was really just last couple generations of stuff, and certainly not anything in complete box and manual state.
That's too bad.
It truly is too bad.
All right, well, let's get down to it. Actually, okay, one last thing. We should probably give a quick plug for some of our friends, former Silicon Knights employees as well, who are working on Rollers of the Realm. They
They're actually at Atlas's booth as well.
Yeah, they just got picked up by Atlas, and their game's going to be released later this year as well. Did you get a chance to play it at all, Andrew?
No, I actually ran into Dave at last GDC, 2 GDCs ago, and actually didn't even get a chance to play it then. So, but I know it's good. I've watched a lot of the videos, and it seems really cool.
I played it, Sean. Just if you're curious.
I am curious.
It was pretty good. It was in an early state. I played it I think a year ago. But I love pinball, and I really love the way they've implemented the RPG elements. I haven't played a final build or close to a final build, but it was looking pretty good a year ago. So I'm pretty excited because the pinball games are a little one-dimensional out there. So I think they're bringing something new to the table here, and they share space with us with Pixelnauts as well. So I run into those guys all the time, and they've added a lot of really good team members over the last year or so, so I'm sure it's only gotten infinitely better from when I played it, which was still really good.
Nice. Yeah. Anything pinball related I'm interested in, add the RPG elements. I'm very interested, so looking forward
Absolutely.
to that. Okay, so E3 kind of made a list of all the games that were talked about or announced, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Before we jump into it, I thought we'd maybe just go through each of the press conferences by company, by studio, or however you want to put it. Before we do that, overall impressions, what was your general sense of the E3 vibe this year?
I would say okay. Nothing truly amazing. Maybe a bit underwhelming in some respects. Definitely a lot of games I'm looking forward to. A few surprises. A few disappointments as well. I would say the one thing I noticed was, and I like indie games and stuff like that. I'm not Joe Pro Indie. We kind of had this argument last time, Sean.
Yep.
How we talk about indie, how cool this stuff is, and then when it comes to top 10 list time, how many indie games make it? Not that many. And
quite a few on my list.
I have but never number 1, 2, 3, 4. You know it.
Sure.
So I actually thought all the indie stuff was extremely promising, and a lot of the things I'm most excited for I hadn't heard of were indie games that I saw during the press conferences. So I thought that was really cool, and the other general vibe I got was I'm not seeing next gen yet, in my opinion. A few games truly felt next gen, but a lot of the sequels and entries in series were not blowing me away. Even some of the stuff we had seen previously in Deep Down and a few other pseudo tech demos were more impressive than anything, for the most part, that I saw at this year's E3.
I totally agree with you. I think I had the same comment. I'm going to have the same comment last year that I had this year, and it's that CG trailers just don't do anything for me anymore. And I think that's sort of what happened this year again, is that a lot of the games were just showing these pretty CG trailers and like kind of jumping ahead. But I think that's why I felt better about Nintendo's press conference, because they just showed gameplay and actually like games, whereas like most of the other ones were just tech demo, or not even tech demos, CG trailers. The other thing I came away with from this year's E3 was that there seemed to be a real emphasis in every conference of co-op gameplay or co-op like campaign modes, almost like The Division, even The Crew.
Yeah, and stuff like Destiny, where it's like massively
Destiny,
multiplayer.
Evolve.
Yeah,
all these games were all focused around this like co-op campaign gameplay, and there wasn't a lot of pure single player or competitive multiplayer stuff shown.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely noticed the co-op thing, like especially like you said, Assassin's Creed. That was their big feature that they've added, and yeah, I mean, normally that's exciting to me. Like I've always liked co-op campaign stuff, but I'm just not playing as much of that kind of stuff. I don't, for me to kind of coordinate with somebody else to sit down and play a game is next to impossible. So I don't know, that a lot of that stuff just kind of went right over my head. I didn't really care, but
yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I felt like it was neat. I would like to play it if I could, but I mean, when are you going to be able to organize 4 people to play Assassin's Creed or any of these other games? It's going to be real hard to get the time together with a whole group of people, at least for us. Maybe when, I'm sure people in high school and even in dorms is probably who they're targeting.
Yeah.
But I think like our situation, there's no way.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Definitely.
Unless it's from like midnight to 2 a.m.
I'm in. With the with the co-op stuff, though, it seems that they're pretty much conceding that Call of Duty and maybe Titanfall, Team Fortress on PC have kind of cornered the competitive market. There's not a lot of opportunity there. Those are the games people are going to play every year competitively. Throw in Battlefield as well, I should mention, and they just have to move to other areas of opportunity, because you have to put way too much work and effort in to get to the level that those other games are already at.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you could say the same about sports games. You don't really see any new sports games coming out, at least not trying to compete with EA. Or, I mean, there's there's almost only one sports game per sport now. So in the sport genre has kind of gone to the same thing.
Hey man, RBI baseball. That's all I got to say.
Coming back.
All right, well, maybe we should jump into the Microsoft press conference, and I think actually a good place to start, this is kind of piggybacking a little bit on, I think, what Frank was getting at too, in terms of, not seeing true next-gen stuff. I mean, the big thing that they were pushing was the Halo Master Chief Collection, which is, another HD remaster, which I was pretty surprised that was, one of the big focuses. And obviously they hinted at Halo 5 Guardians, but that's still a ways off. Did you guys have any thoughts on the Halo Master Chief Collection?
I'm actually excited. I'm excited for it. I find I really enjoy playing HD remakes of great games. Even though I didn't play that much of... They re-released the original Halo on Xbox 360. I didn't play a ton of that. But I've been meaning to get back into Halo, and the fact that they're releasing it on next gen seems pretty good. A lot of people are really excited about Halo 2 multiplayer, which is a huge deal, I think, for people who love that game. It's not a deal breaker for me, but a lot of people say that's their favorite multiplayer game ever, and once those servers went down, there really wasn't an outlet for it. So I think that'll be surprisingly popular.
I was a little surprised when they said that each Halo game is going to have their own exact multiplayer mode. But I guess if you're catering to the big fans by bringing out the games again, I guess that makes sense to me. Because I think in the 360 re-release they had like basically Halo 3 or Halo 4 multiplayer, but Halo 2 maps. I don't know if that's actually the case. It seems to ring a bell, but
this time around they said that I think all the maps from all the games are going to be available, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. I mean, that's a pretty all-encompassing package. I mean, it's definitely going to be worth the $60 or whatever they decide to charge for it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's smart. I mean, we're kind of going to get this later on, but with like the remastered packages, I think it's worth it if people want to play those old games again. I don't think by having a HD in quotes, package put together, trilogy pack, or in this case 5 games or how many it is, I don't think that really degrades anything. I think it's actually great that those games don't just die when like the old hardware goes away.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I'm fine with it. I just, when that's sort of like the big thing they're pushing for the year because they don't have time to get out an actual next-gen game, that's when I start to wonder. But, there were some other cool things. Like the one game that I was, I think, most impressed with at the Microsoft press conference that actually made me think maybe I would at some point pick up an Xbox One was Sunset Overdrive.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I mean, for me, it's just an action shooter. It's kind of got zombie-ish kind of creatures, but I like the approach that they took in the trailer kind of sold me on it based on, we're not just another, shooter. We've got this colorful, irreverent tone, and I could appreciate that. It felt like something a little different, and it looked like a lot of fun. What did you guys think?
Oh, I thought it looked amazing. I think it was on my... it might have been on my top 5 last year, even briefly what we saw from it. So I really like Insomniac. I know last year they said they'd be daily updating weapons and have this weird design model where they were updating the game all the time. So I think that could be potentially awesome if they're still doing that. I loved the interactive text.
Right. Of course.
It's so close to what... No, but that's
your dream.
We had concepts so similar to that when we were working on X-Men Destiny. And we just didn't have enough time, and we had some really cool similar ideas. So I was really impressed by how well they pulled that off. It looks amazing.
Interactive text is to Frank what Metroidvania is to Dwyer.
Something like that.
I love my interactive presentation elements like Splinter Cell, and that shit just, I love it. So yeah, I think that game looks really good. Glad to hear October release for that, because not a lot of stuff coming out in the next few months. So
yeah, not a lot of stuff coming out between now and the end of the year at all. Like, I was surprised. I was expecting a lot more stuff to be announced for the holiday season, but honestly, there might be some stuff that kind of squeaks in that hasn't got an official release date announced yet, but right now there's very little stuff. So
isn't it weird that the launch titles for Xbox One and PS4 were pretty much Call of Duty, Battlefield, the sports games, and that's the majority of it, and Assassin's Creed, and that's what the releases are going to be this year too.
Yeah,
the same systems like that. That's just crazy. So I think Sunset Overdrive, if that game's good, it has a huge opportunity. This is its chance to shine.
So I don't know what the big hype about this game is personally. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a big sort of like third-person frantic shooter type guy. But I mean, I like the art style, I like the colors. It's nice to see a game that's not gray and drab. I kind of felt like this was almost like Ratchet and Clank. What was it? Ratchet and Clank.
Yep.
Meets like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like Jet Set Radio. That's the vibe I got.
I definitely got a Jet Set Radio influence from it for sure.
I'm vibing all over that vibe. It's amazing.
Do you know?
You just described the perfect game to me.
And it has interactive UI elements, so it's Dreamboat. Do you know? I don't get it though. You know what pissed me off the most about this whole like Sunset Overdrive part of the conference was what's with the like you are the hero PR spin they're trying to put on it. Every game, you are the hero. Why were they emphasizing that?
I don't know. I don't want to be the hero. I want you to create a compelling character for me, or an interesting hero. I'm boring. I'm a loser. Give me something good, and a fully thought out character that's complex, interesting, visually compelling as well. I don't want to design my own character. You're the designers. You're the artists. Tell me what's cool.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, in every shot they showed, you were playing as the guy from the CG trailers. So I don't really get, are you actually playing as him and he's you? But then in the CG trailer, he was pointing at the camera like you were you and he was some other guy. I don't know. I didn't understand like what they were going for, and watching Ted Price out there forcing out this PR speak was, it looked a little forced, and I think he knew it was a little corny, and I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. But
I think you guys, maybe there were some run-ins with your company at some of the parties. I'm getting
definitely. There's a story. We're not
drama behind the scenes.
I'm just upset because you guys mentioned there's nothing coming out this year, and you obviously forgot Citizens of Earth is coming out. Obviously, jeez.
Well, that's a given.
October release window. Let's go. Prime going up against all the other games.
October? I'm playing Sunset Overdrive. That's
I'll play Citizens of Earth.
Good. No, you won't. You might play for 5 minutes.
If it's on a portable device, I could safely say I will play it.
You might buy it. I'm not gonna say play it.
We'll see. So
now, here, hypothetical for Andrew. What's the ratio here? What would you prefer? Would you rather I bought it and played it, or I bought multiple copies and didn't play it? And what number is it good? Like, if I bought 3 copies but didn't play it, is that better to you than me actually buying it and playing it?
Probably, because then I would actually might have a chance of getting some money.
Exactly. So maybe I'll buy a few copies and not play it, just for you.
Well, there you go. It won't. Well, if you pretend it's like a full price title, then it'll basically be like 1 copy for you when you buy your 3. Because I know it's not going to be full price.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I'll definitely play it.
All right.
Of course you will.
Some other big Microsoft games. I mean, jumping, I guess, to the end of the conference, Crackdown. A lot of people seemed excited about this. For me, it was another, like you were saying, Andrew, a CG trailer. And I don't know. I've never played the first 2 Crackdown games, and I don't know. I don't get the fuss over this personally. What about you guys? Is this something you're looking forward to?
I am a bit. I remember the first one being really, you're kind of OP'd. You can jump immensely high. If anything, I would compare it. It was a hybrid of GTA and I would say Infamous, and I'd say they have a high ceiling to reach in terms of what Infamous has become and how much fun it is to traverse that game and use your powers. I'm pretty sure the original Crackdown would pale in comparison today, but it could be good. I'm on the same boat though. Another CG trailer, just an announcement. Who cares?
The only thing that was nice for me was that it's actually a Microsoft exclusive, which seems to be so rare these days.
Right.
So I was just excited that they actually had a first-party title to announce. I don't know how far along it is. It's probably 2015 to be pushed out, but
I'll say this, and this may be saying something too. All of my top 5s, when we do our top 5 E3s, are exclusives.
Interesting.
I think mine might be as well.
There's one for at least one for every each of the 3 major consoles.
Okay. What about Fable Legends? Any interest to that?
It looks okay. I like Fable. I've always thought it was an underrated series. A lot of interesting ideas. And if there was any series that I thought was more ambitious than the current technology that held it back a bit, it was the Fable series. So now that they're on a bigger, better more powerful platform, I actually have a lot of faith in the series, although what I saw didn't blow me away.
Is there, like, can you give me a brief, like, what's new in this at all? Is there anything new?
Again, it seemed like they were focusing on co-op play more than anything. And
play as...
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
I thought they mentioned something about playing as the villain or something.
Yeah, that's right. It was pretty much the Zombie U, the multiplayer where you were placing zombies and kind of a tactical leader for the enemy attack. Someone, I think using smart glass or something like that, can manipulate the enemy AI and where they end up and what type of enemies spawn. So that's kind of cool. I'll say this. I've been playing Dead Rising 3, and for the first time I used the smart glass app as a companion, and it was actually pretty good. I got extra content from it, missions that came directly from that. It was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Cool.
And I even used the app for Assassin's Creed for Black Flag for doing the ship missions and stuff like that when I was taking a shit or whatever. And I think there's actually a lot of potential for those kind of things in games if the mini games are fun. And, if I can make a little progress in my game taking a dump, I'm all for it.
Time management.
Well, it's funny. I was going to mention that as one of the things that was kind of announced in past E3s that seemed like a nothing, like nobody's really taken advantage of it, but I guess maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Oh, I wouldn't disagree that there's not a lot of things to take advantage of it. I even played the fucking Knack app. the Match 3 Knack app.
You're desperate. You love Knack. I mean, let's face it. Can't get enough of that.
I can't believe... I think every game that I've been aware of some stupid iPhone app I've actually used. So... that's a scary thought, because I would assume I'd be the person least interested in shit like that. So, I don't know. More of that.
Well,
Keep it coming.
Nintendo's doing that now too, right? Aren't they? Like, didn't they announce some iOS apps that were, like, kind of tied into games or something?
I didn't hear about that, but I'm loving it.
I'll have to look up, see if I can find the details on that. But, what else? I guess Rise of the Tomb Raider was a big one, but again, announcement, not much more to go on.
I thought that one actually did a good job of disguising what it was.
Yeah.
I was speculating what it was going to be until the Tomb Raider reveal, and I'm obviously very giddy about that. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that one too.
I think I'm gonna buy Tomb Raider again for Xbox One and play it again.
This may be sacrilege to you guys, but I'm actually a little more excited for the new Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I didn't see any footage for it. I just saw an announcement, but I love the original, so that was good to hear.
Yeah, they had a gameplay trailer as well.
Oh,
I mean, it looks like more of the same, but better graphics, and now it's 4-player.
Yeah? Evolve looks amazing. I can't wait for Evolve.
Yeah, that's the new one from the Left 4 Dead guys.
Yeah. I think that game is going to be amazing. That actually comes out this year, right? I think that... Well, actually, there are 3 big games coming out this year. There's Destiny. Oh, no, Destiny got pushed back, didn't it? It's just betas this year.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because some of the sites I was on still said September, but I was pretty sure it wasn't.
I don't think so. And then Evolve, if that comes out this year... Any game that can get out this year, I'm sure these studios are aware of it. That is the biggest thing you can do, especially for a new IP, because there's so little going on. If you have a really good game, this is the year. You have to crunch, do whatever you can to get that game out the door.
According to Wikipedia, it still says September 9th, 2014 for Destiny. So I don't know what's going on. I'm a little... Like, even that, I was expecting there to be a bigger deal of that made at the Sony press conference, but nobody seemed to really be talking about it that much, and I don't know. That should be a big game. Okay, what else was there at the Microsoft press conference that you guys want to talk about? Some of the indie stuff?
That's the only thing I have left, and I mean, the thing that stole the show for me in most respects was the montage, the indie montage at the Xbox press conference.
Right.
When I saw those 4 seconds of Cuphead, I almost lost my mind and proceeded to go on their websites, which I think a lot of people felt the same way because they were getting hammered. Their website was down, so many people were looking that game up. That to me is the freshest idea. And we'll get into the PlayStation conference. When they did their indie reel, it was the same stuff over and over again. Pixel SNES art in every single game, and I'm sick of it. So I was glad that the 2 games indie games I was most excited for, both came from Xbox, and it was Cuphead and Oni in the Magic Forest or something like that.
Ori.
Sorry. And that looked like a Don Bluth movie to me. When I saw the owl, it reminded me completely of the owl in The Secret of Nim. And I thought,
what about Inside?
I'm pretty psyched for that.
That looked really good too.
The Limbo guys.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. That looked awesome as well. But, I mean, all I can think about day and night is Cuphead.
So, I don't know if...
It was actually announced already.
I know, I couldn't believe it. And the one guy lives in Oakville.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, and the other guy lives in Regina, and then they have a few other hires and stuff.
Huh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was up here. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, for people who don't know, this is it's a platformer, but the art style is made to look like old school Disney animated shorts. And
I would even say more like Harryhausen. Is it Harryhausen? No, I'm thinking of something else. But like old Popeyes. I can't remember the guy who made it.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie, I think, is the famous cartoon.
Yeah, I think it's going back even earlier than some of that.
I think the gameplay kind of looked like an older Kirby game.
Well, it's not. I just want to make it clear. From what I know, it's not a platformer. It's a series of kind of individual one-on-one fights, kind of like Mega Man bosses and other things. I think that's a way of constraining how much art they actually have to do. And I think that's a great idea in terms of, containing design and scope of a small team with this ambitious an art style. I'm sure they had to make a concession somewhere, and I'm fine with it if it allows them to focus on moments that really pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I wasn't, over the moon for it is I just didn't get a full sense of what the gameplay was, but the art style was definitely pretty eye-catching.
I hope it plays like a sack of shit. I won't even care. I hope it plays like Knack.
Then you'll love it. Should we mention? Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, I was just gonna say I knew Frank was gonna love that Ori game because it looked exactly like Rayman.
Yeah.
No way.
You didn't think so?
Nah.
Platforming and stuff.
All I saw was Don Bluth slept all over that baby with a hint of Miyazaki, which I'm not too crazy about. But the Don Bluth, forget about it.
Well, I've heard that it's Metroid inspired in terms of the game design, so I'm on board. But
this could be our combined cream dream.
It could be. Should we mention the Project Spark with Conker? Anything to say about that?
I love Conker, so I don't know what capacity it'll play in Project Spark, but I really need to try that demo out more. I've only tried it for a second, and I have the beta. I just need to put a little time into it because I think there's a lot of interesting potential in terms of what we see from Little Big Planet 3, which in my mind was not a huge step up. If they can make the interface really easy and dynamic, they have opened up a huge opportunity for the custom game type games in the next gen platforms.
Yeah, that'll be tough to pull off. That's it seems like the scope of what they're aiming for is huge.
Yeah,
and it'll take a lot of effort by people to make quality content. But I mean, if they can pull it off and have really interesting things going on, I mean, it looks from the demos, the gameplay demos or whatever you want to call it, demos. I've watched the videos. It seems like they're making really usable tools.
Well, we have a former colleague working on that game as well, so I should really Henry from SK works on that game. I think Rob does too. I'm not sure.
I think Henry's project lead actually.
Yeah, I think so. So I might have to reach out to him and see how things are going with that and see what's up because it looks good.
Definitely. Okay, anything else you guys want to mention from Microsoft?
Well, I want to say I got a few more things. Frank, you mentioned you've been playing Dead Rising. What did you think of that Capcom edition craziness?
Oh yeah, that new version.
I loved it.
What was the title of it?
It's available today.
Yeah, that's your dream.
Oh, guess what? It's available today. Booyah, bought it, and that's what made me start playing Dead Rising, pretty much for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty smart move. They got at least one guy to buy that shit and play their game.
So this is Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition DX Plus Alpha? Is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
That's the one. Just rolls off the tongue.
It's beautiful.
That was pretty funny. I liked it.
The other thing, have you guys played Phantom Dust? Or did you?
No, I wanted to talk about that. I do not know what the big deal is about this game.
Yeah, it meant nothing to me.
It was like it up. It was an Xbox One, or like the original Xbox. It was an exclusive. So I don't know. There must be fans of the game.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
It's kind of weird to think of like an original Xbox game as being like this classic that needs to be revived, you know? Like so many of the things being revived are like, you know, from the 8-bit or 16-bit era, but I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, I guess, but yeah, I know nothing about it, so.
I think it came out late in the console life cycle because I had never even heard of it. And I didn't really... I was pretty much on top of everything until the last year or two of that console, so something's up with that.
Yeah, it's weird. I thought I heard a podcast talking about how it was going to be released in Japan and then got released in Japan and then it was going to be released in the US and there was some sort of like holdup. So I don't know if maybe it changed publishers and then they had a limited run or something, but it obviously is popular amongst somebody if it got made.
You'd think.
Yeah. I had two more things I wanted to bring up that I don't think any of the other conferences touched on. The Witcher 3, which I thought looked pretty incredible. I thought it was sort of going for, you know, that Skyrim open world with crazy monsters and things. I don't think that game's going to be for me. I haven't played any of the other Witcher games, but I would like to play it if I actually had time to sit down with something that large and that massive, but I doubt I will. But that would be a game that if I had a lot of time, I think I would dive into.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about The Witcher 2, and I know there's a lot of people looking forward to this, but I don't know much about it.
Any thoughts, Frank?
I think that was all I wanted to mention from Xbox.
Okay, well, I got the big one that we haven't talked about and won't in any other conference, and that's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Right.
Which I actually... So I'm not a big shooter guy, and I think the last one I played was Battlefield 3, and this actually had me a little interested, probably because they actually were showing new things, new tech, stuff I hadn't seen before. It looked like they were actually trying to do something, you know, a little interesting with the sort of sci-fi angle to the game. I think it's where the Call of Duty franchise needs to go. I think Modern Warfare stale, you know, World War II might be maybe able to come back now, but probably not. And they might have been stealing some ideas from Titanfall with the whole mech thing they have going on. But overall, I thought this game looked pretty interesting, and I might actually consider picking this one up.
Well,
I completely tuned out for this video. I don't remember anything about it. I didn't even know there was mechs in it. remembered nothing. It's just like, okay, it's another Call of Duty. I don't even care. I'll buy it probably. I just don't even want to watch this.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in it, but I agree that to do more sort of realistic military stuff at this point is kind of played out. So if you can sort of amp it up a bit with some sci-fi flavor, is probably a good idea. But this might be a good way to transition into the EA press conference, because on the other side of the fence, Battlefield Hardline, I was going to say I actually was kind of impressed with that. It felt to me like they were maybe borrowing some ideas from, what's that game called? Payday?
Payday?
Yeah, it seemed like maybe they're borrowing some ideas from that. It's like a cops and robbers kind of thing, basically, but like, you know, just amped up to like an insane level. And it was kind of hilarious when they were doing the demo for this at the EA press conference, because at the exact time that was going on, there was an actual live car chase going on in LA that was like streaming online and people were talking about. And it was just like this weird moment where you're watching this video game about like, you know, people just like shooting the shit out of cops and stuff, and then this thing is happening in real life. Seemed like kind of in poor taste, but I gotta say I actually kind of thought for the first time in a while that I might be interested in a new Battlefield game personally.
I think it's an interesting take, but I don't know. I think Payday 2 probably did it just as well, and I don't know if it'll bring anything new to the table. It seemed to be pushing the whole co-op thing a lot more as well. Maybe
Right.
larger scale co-op thing, which seemed to be, you know, the thing to do.
Yeah, I thought it looked okay. I just immediately disappointed when the lead at a press conference is, you know, a sixth sequel to a game. It just, I'm like, I know what this is. It's going to be a better looking version of the last one. Sure, there's a new idea which got leaked already. I kind of knew what it was. That's not their fault. But I wasn't super impressed. It looked okay.
Well, I mean, the EA press conference was pretty much all sequels. I don't know if there was anything original aside from maybe that Criterion Untitled racing game.
Yeah.
But
Dawngate, the MOBA.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Although that's just...
MOBA's the thing now.
Yeah.
EA's got to jump into the money pool.
Yeah, so let's jump into some of the sports stuff real quick. Or, well, do you have anything to say about... Is it Dawngate? Is that what it's called?
I don't really know anything about it. Yeah, I think so. I just know they were talking about it and kind of saying they were working with the community to make it, but I've never played a MOBA. I know guys who are completely obsessed with Dota 2 and League of Legends.
I mean, that's all anyone
so
at my
daunting.
that's all anyone at my work is playing, like people who are, you know, like 10 years younger than me. So obviously it's huge, but it's totally not my wheelhouse. I have no idea what these games are like, and I don't have much interest.
It seemed like that is the college dorm game for kids right now that are in college.
Yeah, when I was in college, it was Counter-Strike for sure. Everyone was playing Counter-Strike all the time. That was playing PC stuff, and now it's these.
Yeah.
We were playing BZ Flag in university. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I was on the MIRC hashtag Niagara message boards, you know? Just chatting it up.
Nice. So, EA Sports stuff. One thing we got to mention is the UFC game with Bruce Lee in it. I just thought that was the weirdest tie-in crossover thing. Like, you know, they had all these quotes from actual MMA fighters who were like, yeah, Bruce Lee was the best, man. And it's like, what? Like, it just did not seem like it fit at all. But obviously they're trying to get a new audience interested in this game.
It seemed suspect to me why you would pull in Bruce Lee to UFC, but like it didn't do anything for me either. I don't know exactly what they were hoping to, you know, who they were hoping to drive to the game, because I'm pretty sure probably the people who play the UFC games are, you know, probably 16 to 25-year-olds mostly. And I don't know, how long has Bruce Lee been dead for? Long time.
Now,
30 years at least?
yeah. Now, if they would have announced a reboot or remake of the classic Bruce Lee game for the Commodore 64, then I may have been interested.
That's a great game.
But yeah, it was weird. What else? NHL 15?
Yeah, it looked pretty good. I'd say that. To me, the biggest thing in this press conference by far was the taste of Battlefront 3.
Star Wars Battlefront.
That's what they led with, right?
Star Wars Battlefront, you mean?
Yeah.
I missed it when it was in the press conference because I saw the trailer posted afterwards and I was like, when did they show that?
Pardon me. And I'm excited for that. It seems like they're putting a lot of money and effort into it, so
I mean,
that could be a really good game.
I'm definitely looking forward to it, but I didn't think it showed all that much. Like, it was...
Yeah, none of the really good stuff did. Mass Effect 2 was so little.
Mass Effect 4, you mean?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mass Effect 4. Dragon Age Inquisition. I really like the art style for that. The revitalized art style, I thought it looked really good.
Andrew, this seems like this game should be right up your alley.
Yeah, well, just going back to the Star Wars stuff, I was actually surprised that was the only Star Wars IP game they talked about. I thought they would have had, something else ready to be talked about, because you'd think that would create the most hype. But maybe nothing else is ready to go, because they had playable demos before of 1313, so you'd think that whatever that game turned into, they would want to be showing it, but maybe it just got completely canned.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that was just kind of, like you guys are saying, just announcements, like, okay, we're going to be doing this, but, too much of that, and people start to think, okay, can I actually buy any of these games anytime soon?
But who cares, because they're going to sell a bajillion copies of all their sports games, of Battlefield and The Sims, so they're going to make their money. I don't think they're too worried about that. And they make so much money off the Ultimate Teams now.
Yeah,
they make,
especially FIFA.
Something like $300 million on that. For the amount of profit compared to work for that stuff must be insane.
Yeah. But for Dragon Age, yeah, I like that. It looks like they. So I was playing a little bit a few months ago of Dragon's Dogma that was free on PS Plus, and it looks like they're taking elements from that game, sort of like with the really big enemies that you kind of have to work together to work down. But yeah, that game looked interesting. I mean, I didn't play Dragon Age 2 because I was reading that it kind of went more action than sort of strategy, like the first Dragon Age. But if this kind of has come back around a little more, I definitely am interested in it. I'll probably wait for some reviews though, just to see what the full gameplay is kind of like. We talked briefly about the Mass Effect 4 announcement, and then they also were just like, yeah, and BioWare is working on another new IP. I don't know why you would even say that. It doesn't seem
just
to
get
sense
people
me.
talking.
I guess so. I mean,
but yeah, I mean,
everyone's always working on new IP. I don't know why they felt like it was press conference worthy.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff was just kind of disappointing. I was hoping they would have something substantial for Mass Effect 4, but I guess not.
Yeah.
So, anything else with the sports games that looked interesting to you guys? More of the same, pretty much, or what?
Yeah, I'm just excited for next gen NHL. That's probably the highlight sports-wise for me. Oh, and that fucking golf game.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. The idea of, I guess,
Weird
taking
action.
the Tiger Woods game and putting it in any other EA game. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, I think so, or kind of the concept. I'm kind of excited. I love golf games, so the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned.
It's also not Tiger Woods anymore. It's PGA Tour.
Oh, it's not.
It's weird that they would... No, yeah, it's just PGA Tour Golf. And it's weird that they would have... The name does not seem to reflect what the game is. When you hear PGA Tour Golf, I would think, a pure version of golf. This is a clean, the beautiful game of golf in its purest form.
Right.
This is the PGA Tour. You're on the tour. And
You'll
then
be able to feel the blades of grass.
It's like NBA Jam golf, and it's so weird. I guarantee that. Well, I don't guarantee. I would not be surprised if that got a name change.
PGA Tour 14 Super Alpha Ultra Remix.
Tournament edition.
Yeah. What about the Mirror's Edge reboot? Reboot or sequel? I don't know what it is.
I think it's reboot. Again, there's not a lot to go on here.
It looked similar to me as far as gameplay and visual style of the first one. So if it was a reboot, that would make much more sense because I originally thought it was a sequel.
Yeah, I don't really... Because originally people... Like, I think they had announced it last year and they were referring to it as Mirror's Edge 2, and then this year they were just calling it Mirror's Edge. So I think at some point they just decided, all right, well, enough people, or not enough people have played that first game. We have to start over again, basically. So,
I always thought it was a reboot.
Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. But I didn't play the first one. I think I played it at Roman's house once, and it was actually a little more fun than I thought. I think some of the... from what I remember, the reviews of the first one were kind of mixed and kind of scared me off a bit, but I'm interested.
It's pretty good, and their first-person platforming stuff has come a long way. Even looking at something like Titanfall, I think they have a model to emulate there in terms of the amount of control you get jumping off walls and double jumping, and I think there's proven examples of that type of first-person gameplay out there that they can emulate and improve on in their game.
Right. Only other thing I have on my list is The Sims 4. Don't have much interest in it, but I thought the trailers and stuff just were really strange. Like, the direction they were taking this game seemed really odd to me.
I think that's been the Sims MO for a few years now, though. I think that's sort of like their thing, is that quirky kind of Sims do weird stuff, and you can kind of watch them do it sort of thing.
I guess that's true. All right.
A lot of people buy The Sims, though.
No, for sure. I mean, it's huge for them. Anything else EA-wise you guys want to talk about?
I just wanted to say I was a little disappointed they didn't have any real like gameplay footage of NHL. I mean, I'm sure those were taken in-engine, but they were probably also touched up and, had the most ideal camera angles. I was hoping to see some actual footage with the, player rings around them and the icons to see who's who and all that stuff, to see how, the game in actual motion from a real, top-down camera.
Right.
But I know I saw a post on Operation Sports today saying that some of the EA NHL gameplay footage had been leaked, and I clicked on it, and I thought it was only about 10 minutes old, and it had already been taken down by YouTube. So,
ouch. I thought you were going to say you got rickrolled.
Oh, no. No, it was gone. Yeah, EA and YouTube had already, pulled it. So obviously EA, told YouTube, make sure your searches are taking out everything EA.
It was link bait, bud. They just wanted some traffic on their site.
Maybe. Although there's 6 pages of comments already with actual legit comments, so it must have been up for a bit.
No, they're fake. They wrote them. It was all it was just they have these canned comments, some kind of scripting engine. Link bait, bud. You got had. It happened.
The other thing is Madden said they were going to focus on D, which I think is nice.
Who cares?
I care. And probably everyone in the U.S. cares.
People care.
People care.
I don't... Defense is not my concern with that game. Offense has been so overpowered for so long. Until they do something with receivers catching balls that they have no business catching, and you hit them like a a Goldberg spear after they catch it and they still hold on to it, there's no chance that that game will ever be anything but an offensive driven game. So all more power to them. If they can improve it, that's fine, but nothing there had me really excited for the next Madden.
Hey man, the camera angle shifts.
I just wish they had. I wish Sega still had their football game. It's ridiculous, this sport game monopoly.
Yeah, Madden I think has really gone downhill since they haven't had anyone pushing them at all. So
yeah, it sucks. I mean, I guess, and the basketball was the only area where they kind of had a competitor, and still do potentially, but
well, they got beat in that one.
Yeah,
they're the underdog in that one.
So, I was just gonna say the one disappointing thing about NHL 15 is I read that the NHL 94 anniversary mode will not be on the next gen consoles. I don't get that.
Shucks.
I mean,
I thought I read the opposite.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but like, why would they? Like, they said, oh, we don't think people who will be buying it on the next gen console care about the retro experience or whatever. But it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I was kind of waiting to buy next year's copy and hoping that would still be there.
Play in 1994.
Yes.
The anniversary is over. I completely agree with this.
Of course you do.
Do it after the anniversary. You missed the anniversary. You blew it. That's on you.
Yeah.
No.
You can have my copy when I buy the new one.
But the thing is, it's not that it's not going to be in NHL 15. It's just not going to be in the next-gen versions of NHL 15, which makes no sense to me.
No, you're missing... Oh, I don't know. I don't know why it would even be in the previous gen.
Yeah, I don't
Probably
get it.
because the previous gen is literally like the same... It's like NHL 14.
It's the same game.
Rosters.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Ubisoft. I don't have too much to say here. I think the big thing is Assassin's Creed Unity. Kind of already mentioned that it's all about the co-op.
They spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, now, I did want to talk about the controversy over this game, which I'm assuming you guys heard about, which is that...
I haven't heard this controversy.
I heard about it just today, actually.
So they said at some point that they were going to have a playable main character that was female as well as male so that you could choose. But they said, yeah, we didn't have enough time, so we had to axe that. And it kind of sent like shockwaves around the web, people saying that's not true, that would never create extra work, it would only take a couple days to create new animations, blah blah blah, all this stuff.
The voice acting alone, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on Ubisoft's side with this one. Like, I like that this debate is coming up.
I'm on Ubisoft's side even if they could do it in a day. Who gives a shit?
Well, the thing I was going to say is, why not skip a year with Assassin's Creed? Like, Jesus, like, do we really need one every single year? But,
yeah, they do.
But
it's their sports game. It's their Call of Duty.
I mean, the thing is, like, you can kind of maybe try and do a balance. You could have some shared animations, but you cannot literally map male animations onto female animations, especially not with Assassin's Creed, because it's all about how good the animations look. Like, it would look terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all tailored very specifically to body type.
And their animation is so good that you would notice a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
If you made really generic, sexless, the most bland animations in the world, yeah, maybe you could pull that off, but they don't. They have some of the best animators in the world. If anything, that's what I think Ubisoft brings to the table over anyone, is quality of animation.
Yeah, definitely.
And they probably even have to, like, I don't know, even just get a little more technical, like, they have all that cloth physics running on that model. I'm sure once you change the shape of, you know, you start running that cloth sim on a female shape rather than a male shape, I'm sure it'll change, you know, little tweaks they'll need to do. So there's just, like, a ton of work. I don't know who these people are that are saying it would be, like, one day.
Well,
Like
there was
Frank
actually...
it'd be one day. Sure, you could get it in one day. like put a new texture on a male character, but I mean that doesn't really do it justice. It's not really the quality bar they're looking for.
Surprisingly, I think it was a guy at Naughty Dog who started that sort of backlash, saying that it would only take a couple days.
What? Is he in QA?
I don't know. I don't remember offhand who it was. I mean, they might just have like a totally different system for animation. I remember there was that GDC demo where they had their animations layered over top of each other and stuff. I don't know. But anyway, any other thoughts on Assassin's Creed Unity? I mean, you guys play these every year, right?
I loved Black Flag. It was my favorite one in the series yet. So I definitely have high hopes for this game. My biggest fear is there's a big difference between playing a co-op game that's stealth-based and having a coordinated demo playing a stealth game that's co-op. So when everyone knows where to go and what to do, it looks like a fluid experience. It'll be up to the game to have UI elements and AI elements that make that possible on the fly in different scenarios. That's my biggest concern with this game, and if they pull it off, it could be amazing. But I think that's really tough to do.
Yeah, that'll be hard. I think the one thing that has me intrigued about this Assassin's Creed is that this is the first Assassin's Creed where I am probably more interested in the current time storyline, like the French Revolution storyline, than the future storyline. I don't know, I find that French Revolution period of time pretty interesting, so to see how they kind of integrate the Assassins and the Templars within it, I think will be pretty interesting, whereas like, you know, generic pirate time, you know, that doesn't really do anything other than the setting. There's no real like history that I know of.
See, so, I'm the exact opposite. I prefer the pirate stuff, and it's mostly for the reason you said. I just find the Caribbean to be a more visually striking thing to me. I like all the whaling and animal hunting in there. That's the stuff I loved. So I'm assuming stuff like that's gone now. When it comes to story elements in Assassin's Creed, I generally just zone out. It's too much for me to take in, and I don't know, it's not my favorite thing about those games anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's just because I am semi-familiar with that history, so it'd be interesting to see kind of how it is integrated.
Let's face it, all you talk about is the French Revolution. Got books.
French Revolution fanboy over here.
Oh, here I see a bookshelf behind you. It's got tons of Les Miserables paraphernalia. I'm seeing books, tattered flags,
all in French,
cannon models. It's insane. You need an intervention.
All right. Anything else? Assassin's Creed? No.
I don't think so.
Far Cry.
But I think a lot of our friends are working on it, though.
Yeah, I was confused about that because is it in Toronto or is it in?
I think it's both.
Montreal
and Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
They have a team of 2,000 on this one.
Right. I guess Rainbow Six Siege is also the same thing. Montreal and Toronto working on this.
I thought it was Far Cry, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about Far Cry first, because actually, Far Cry, I've played a bit of the first one. I haven't played 2 or 3. I liked the settings, and I like the setting for this one. It's kind of this Himalayan mountain area. But the one weird thing, and like I guess this kind of comes up every E3 as well, like the idea of, you know, sometimes when you just see all these trailers one after the other, you start to realize how crazy violent video games can be. And for me, when I was watching all the press conferences, for some reason, the demo of this game, it just clicked for me all of a sudden. Like, you're watching this guy walk around, and he's just, like, knifing random people. And like most games, you kind of understand, okay, those are the bad guys. But in this one, I didn't get the context, and I was kind of like, this is weird. I felt like it was wrong somehow. But, and, you know, there's animals that you can just randomly slaughter and stuff too, right? But are you guys Far Cry fans?
I'm not a huge Far Cry fan. I played 3 a bit. I actually like Blood Dragon the best. That was the most up my alley.
Right.
I just find a lot of the Ubisoft games tread into a bit of the same territory in terms of open world and collectibles and kind of open free roaming sense. So I just find one's first person and the settings change up a bit. So it's tough for me to play those games back to back to back. I like playing them once in a while, and then I'll really get into one of them. It's just a matter of timing and when I've played the last one. So maybe I'll kind of hold out for Far Cry 4 before I play Assassin's Creed.
All right.
I played Far Cry 2 only. That's the only one I've played. And I thought it was okay. Same thing Frank was saying. It's sort of like open world, go wherever you want and do missions. My problem with those type of games is that they always just kind of like throw you in and let you explore. And I really have trouble motivating myself to play a game where I really have no, end goal in mind. And doing like little ticky-tack side missions for random dudes I meet on the street don't really compel me to play those games for very long. So I have a feeling Far Cry 4 might be the same. I don't know how much different Far Cry 3 was, but
well, we're gonna get into open world when we talked about the Nintendo press conference. I'd say that's the biggest theme too. Everyone wants open world games. I'll save my words for this for a special segment.
All right. Well, let's. So Ubisoft, the only other major games that I wanted to touch on was just the Rainbow Six Siege and Tom Clancy's The Division. I don't know. For me, The Division looks a little bit like something new, and I mean it is kind of a new IP, I believe. But Rainbow Six seems like it's more for the technical shooter crowd. I don't know. Thoughts on these ones?
To be fair, I missed a lot of these too. I was editing Film Junk at the time during this press conference, so I don't have a ton to say about them.
Okay.
Rainbow Six Siege for me kind of reminded me like, do you guys remember SWAT? The game SWAT, Police Quest spin-off?
I do remember that.
It was kind of like, I felt like it was like that game, but you play as all the individuals instead of sort of like the overarching planner. I thought it looked interesting. I don't know. It kind of gave me a bit of sort of the same feeling with Left 4 Dead when you're kind of working as a team against, in that case, AI, but in this case, like real people. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think it would be for me, but I can see how people might really get into it. I don't know exactly how they would make that sort of thing really interesting every time. I don't know if just changing the layouts of houses you assault will make for a really long, enjoyable game. But I don't know. Maybe that's all they're going for is... I don't know how they're going to drive players to keep playing that exactly. The same sort of thing.
Right. Well, I assume the franchise has a following and has always done pretty well for them. And it's been a while since the last Rainbow Six game, I think, right? So probably would help.
I think this game will suffer from the same thing Frank brought up with Assassin's Creed, where having a choreographed co-op demo makes a game look a lot better. And in this case, where your goal is to, rescue a hostage, which could be quite difficult, and you're gonna have to coordinate quite well. I mean, I know guys do it in like Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, so I know it's possible, but it just seems like this might be a little harder to pull off.
Yeah, I think if you're really into the idea of communicating with a team, and you do that all the time, and you have your friends together, and that's how you like to play. Strategy together, work as a team, this would be right up your alley. I barely get a chance to play with my friends, and I don't necessarily want to make friends online to play these types of games, so I don't know if this is necessarily for me. but I'll probably buy it.
All right, any other Ubisoft games you guys want to talk about?
Well, yeah, again, the next Ubi art framework game.
Which is what?
Was it Hero? Or no, Valiant Hearts.
Valiant Hearts.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, I love the Rayman games. I'll get into it later, but I love Child of the Light, the next game to use that framework. So, any game that's using that is on my radar.
Yeah, I was kind of unsure what kind of game this is. It looks like an adventure game of some sort, but like, is it an actual like point and click adventure, or like what is it?
I don't know. I don't care.
I really was captured by the art and sort of like the World War II setting. But then I listened to a podcast today that said that the gameplay is a letdown, and I think they said it was sort of like stealth action, but more stealth, and there wasn't much depth to anything. They said it was kind of like Mark of the Ninja, but with less moves, and not like, I don't think it has sort of like the height component that Mark of the Ninja has. So I don't know if it'll actually pan out to be something really interesting. But
well, yeah, I'm interested, but we'll probably wait for reviews on that one. All right. So, are we moving on to Sony?
We gotta talk about the biggest part of the Ubisoft conference.
Which was?
Sean, how you haven't brought this up is beyond me.
What's that?
Aisha Tyler.
Oh,
yeah.
She's growing on me.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I did not like her the first time she was on stage.
She's a little too try-hard for me. Tossing F-bombs.
Yeah.
Trying to... I like her casual demeanor in some respects, but I felt they were intentionally pushing the envelope, trying to get some attention with that stuff.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
It was worse. Was it the first year or the second year?
Oh, yeah.
She kept bringing up Girlwood? Like, that was on my nerves, but...
I thought you were going to go to the before her when it was that...
Mr. Caffeine?
What was his nickname?
Oh, Mr. Caffeine?
Yeah. That guy's amazing.
That guy was the best.
Bring him back. They should bring him back.
I agree.
Trending immediately. Yeah, people that I've talked to, Ubi is the thing they were most impressed by. It seems to be that's what everyone loved. I think even Jack Tretton was saying that too after that press conference. So I love the games. I just felt it was more
mostly
of the stuff.
co-op.
Yeah, and more of the stuff
Co-op
I've seen from them. Nothing new really blew me away or caught me off guard. I knew about all the games before the press conference, so it's kind of not fair to them. All the other people were holding stuff back to surprise you and get a reaction. So we'll see. They've got a pretty good track record, and I don't think they will let games fail anymore. They're in a position now where they have enough people, enough resources to throw at problems that they won't let a game come out if it's bad, which is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been saying, like, over the past year or two that, the launch of new consoles is when you see original IPs pop up, and really there hasn't been that much. I mean, you've got your Titanfall and Destiny and a couple other things, but still mostly sequels this time around, which is a little depressing.
Well, I just think it's taking way longer than they anticipated to finish these games. One game we didn't mention in Xbox that I forgot was Scaleborn, which is a Platinum Games exclusive, or Scalebound, pardon me. And it was just a video demo, but I love Platinum Games, and they're always doing cool original ideas, so that's one to keep an eye on too, but who knows when that's going to come out. It was just a CG teaser, really.
Yeah. Since we're kind of back in the Microsoft press conference, I was actually surprised they didn't show anything from Epic.
Yeah.
And they didn't show anything on Quantum Break.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Or even the tech demos from Epic were not there at all.
Yeah, Epic was non-existent in this show. which I was really surprised on. I thought they would be pushing that Fortnite game big and possibly whatever their next UE4 game is.
Or something with
After Fortnite.
Gears even. It's so weird that none of that stuff was there.
Yeah.
That is strange, because if anything, you think they've got a leg up on the competition. They've got a framework. They had resources to put into Unreal for years now, I'm assuming. So to have nothing to show at this point is either
Scary.
a strategic move or scary.
Well, and didn't a bunch of the head Epic guys leave? Like, isn't Tim Sweeney gone now? And I thought another head guy at Epic left, which could be a telling sign.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but it is strange. I mean, they were so dominant last generation, and I don't know. Maybe there's still stuff coming. I assume there is, but I don't know.
You don't really hear much, this is an Unreal Engine game anymore.
Yeah.
Because it used to be. Last gen, like, every game was Unreal Engine. And now it's not.
Yeah, well, I guess everybody's got, all the big publishers have their own engines that they all use, and then all the indie people are using, like, Unity and stuff like that, so.
Yeah. I think Crytek's starting to take a bite out of Epic's, share.
Yeah,
Share.
could be.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about it last show. Clearly, their new pricing model probably reflects people moving to stuff like Crytek and to Unity for smaller developers. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what their next move is, or the next game they show.
Well, I guess, while we're on it, it's not really part of E3, but they announced the new Unreal Tournament and what they're going to do. Do you guys see that news?
No, I didn't.
They're doing, like, essentially a community-developed Unreal Tournament game.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that.
Next Unreal Tournament game. So it sounds like they're almost... they're taking, like, the... not really Unity model, but Unity kind of concept of creating almost like a marketplace for people to add to, and then they'll kind of take what's good, I guess. And I don't know how they're going to actually curate the assets that are made and decide what goes in, what doesn't.
Put it all in. If people are stupid enough to buy it and they get a cut of it, fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, so I think that's what it was like. I think it was something like the game's going to be free, and then anything that gets purchased, they get, like, some sort of cut of whatever. So it's an interesting take on that game. I'm a little surprised that people seemed excited for it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school in thinking that I'd rather have a legitimate, developer who can sit down and talk with the members on their team and actually come up with proper solutions and stuff. Like that, I would rather see a game from them than, a community mishmash of stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, Huck, you're living in the past, bud.
Modding
Modding is huge. Modding is the future. You just gotta accept reality, bud.
That's why Little Big Planet's so great right now. Top game.
I'm talking on PC, bro. This is the market for Unreal Tournament. So...
Yeah. But I mean, you're talking about modding a finished product. This is talking about taking a shell and creating a full game from mods.
Well, you know what's cool about this, though? People have been modding for years, and it's just been this free thing. So now there's motivation for good modders to make good stuff, and they can earn money off it, and the company makes money off it. That's an interesting take on that model, I think.
Yeah, and I think really a lot of the modding scene got kicked off with Unreal Tournament, so it's kind of like a nice circle coming back to close the loop.
It's a nice circle jerk.
Just a fairy tale ending. Super happy for him.
All right, are we ready to get into Sony?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jack, baby, where are you? I saw he was doing the reaction shows and the pre-shows for game trailers. This guy is still the best.
I really wanted to watch, but I didn't have time to see any of those.
Okay, boys, here's what we got to do. Kickstarter. We start our own company. Find out how much it takes to get Trenton. And that's our Kickstarter campaign. We will get Trenton.
Get Trenton.
And we'll get him on board, and we're good to go. Because that's all you need. This guy's a genius. He's not even trying to be charismatic, and he's just oozing it all over the floor.
He is, though. Man. He's real good.
Yeah, Sony's press conference was definitely lacking in personality a little bit. But
who's the one guy who is doing PlayStation Now and all that stuff?
Oh, that's when I tuned douche. Out. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is that the blonde guy?
No, it was Scott something, I think. God. Don't they have these guys like do a sample presentation and be like, I don't know about this guy. I don't think his Q rating is going to be setting the world on fire tonight. It's not hard to figure out which guys are good and which guys aren't. Like, what is the insistence of these CEOs that it has to be me doing this stuff? If you want your game to be popular and do stuff, you got to at least have the recognition and say, I'm not good at this.
You got to have
someone who is good at it. Like, that's not what I do. I get paid to make business decisions, analyze things, and make hard choices, not to tap dance for fucking kids on the internet. Get someone who's good at that, and have them come out and
my boy T.
Yeah, use all these pandering words and things that everyone
get Jack Trenton.
Yeah,
or Mr. Caffeine. Bring back Mr. Caffeine.
It's just their own self-awareness of what works and what doesn't, and what's actually hurting them rather than helping them is boggling to me, because it's not like a game announcement that they've already spent 100 hours or 2 years on, and well, we have to talk about this game. We've worked on it for 2 years. This is just picking someone, and so much of this stuff is the presentation and who's talking. Pick someone who's good at talking. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah, that's like was it Jay Moore? Who did he used to do press conferences for? Or was he just
EA?
Anyways, maybe EA, but that guy he just like hated gamers and didn't care that people knew. Like, he was trying to be funny, but when you're making fun of your audience all the time, it just does not make a good host. And I don't know why they went with him for so many years. Anyways, totally off topic.
PlayStation, I thought they were killing it during the actual press conference. I thought everything was awesome for the most part, and then towards the tail end it really slowed down. But surprisingly enough, a lot of the announcements during that slow period I really loved. And I was least impressed by their indie stuff, and that seems to be Sony's thing. They embrace indies, and the indie games I saw flashes of were not all that amazing, except for the game that launched that day. That looked cool. But the reaction to Sony's, I thought it was going to be Sony did it again, but it's just kind of everyone was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Sony was the best just based on, like, sort of the variety of stuff, the amount of exclusive stuff. They had a little bit of hardware stuff to talk about mixed in. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think they destroyed everyone else like last year. Like, Microsoft was pretty good this year, and they clearly learned from last year that they had to talk about games this time around, so they did. And Nintendo was good, but, a lot of some of the same stuff, but at least they had a couple original ideas in there too. So yeah, go ahead.
I agree. I think Sony had like the highest highs, but also the lowest lows of any of the conferences. So I think they had a good showing as well. I think I was a little surprised that they took the time to emphasize like the Destiny bundle as like the hardware thing. I thought they would have had something more interesting than that, but I guess they're trying to do a push for Destiny like right out of the gate. I don't know. Did they even what did they show of Destiny? I can't remember.
I think it was a gameplay trailer.
Yeah, it kind of, like, didn't it kind of...
I remember it now, yeah.
For me, it kind of blurred together with The Order, because didn't they show The Order, like, right after it?
They showed The Order shortly. I do not think that at all. The Order, to me, I'm not going to reveal where it is in my top 5, but it was up there for one of the most impressive things I saw at E3. I thought that looked incredible. The presentation and the transitions between cinematics to gameplay was flawless. I think that game looks amazing. I had heard about this game, and I believe there was a lot of good tech, and it looked good, but I hadn't seen proof of gameplay and experience until that press conference. So I thought that was really, really good.
I thought they did a little Resident Evil 1 homage too, with the guy kind of like chewing on the body and him like kind of creeping up from behind.
Yeah.
So this is The Order you guys are talking about.
That's right.
The Order 1886 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I think it looks really polished. The only thing for me is just the actual premise, like the whole sort of steampunk thing with like zombies mixed in or whatever. I don't know. It just seemed like a mishmash of everything that's popular right now. It didn't seem that exciting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it was unique enough that, I mean, even the talking zombies is refreshing. It feels like there's a villain contingency that has a personality, which is rare in zombie games.
Was that a zombie or a werewolf?
I'm not sure what it is, to be honest, but
I thought it would have been a werewolf.
I like that the villains have a personality and there's a story between the two sides, or it appears that way. I find in zombie games you kind of just get lost in the endless mayhem, and it's hard to inject story components other than the human side. So even a lot of video games, right? There's not a lot of confrontation between the villains and the protagonists, except for key moments in the game. You don't get a sense for why they're your enemies other than they look evil and you're told to kill them or hurt them. So I think that's a huge opportunity too, to build a relationship between villain and protagonist, and that is the cool idea that I haven't seen done well in a game that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think this game has a lot of potential. I think it reminded me of like essentially a video game version of Underworld. I thought that's what they were going for.
I'm out. I changed it on worst game.
Well, it's only because it doesn't have Beckinsale in it. That's why.
Yeah, well, I kind of agree. That's, to me, what it looked like, and maybe that's why I wasn't as psyched about it. But I don't know, in terms of exclusive games coming out on PS4.
Underworld is goth. It's not even close, man. It's totally different. Vampire goth versus steampunk werewolf. Which one sounds better to you? It sounds pretty obvious.
Yeah, Vampire goth with Kate Beckinsale.
All right, let's talk briefly about Entwined, because this kind of touched on something that Frank has been wanting for years, which they kind of, you already mentioned it with Dead Rising as well, but the idea of something that you didn't even know was coming out, and at E3 they say, bam, this thing is coming out, and it's out right this second.
I knew that was coming too, but I couldn't buy it.
You didn't buy it?
That game is so close to the game I want to make control-wise that I've had in my head for the last 4 years, that if I play it and it's good, I will probably kill myself.
Ouch. Well,
In my mind, my idea is even better. It makes more sense with the controls. I got to make this game.
It sounds like you should play this game, get inspired by it, realize how you can improve on it, and then make your game.
Oh, I gotta make this game. I gotta make a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, get on it. So, all right. Well, I don't know. It looked kind of interesting, kind of cool psychedelic shit. I'm down with that. I
like the art style. I'm gonna buy it. I'm just a little hesitant for those reasons. But I thought it looked really good.
I thought it looked like a mix of like, what's that game? Child
Journey?
No.
Oh, Child of Light?
No, not Child of Light.
Eden?
Child of Eden, and was it Rez, or
Yeah.
and there's another game that was like made by a guy in Toronto.
Dyad.
Like, a lot of purple and blues.
Dyad.
Dyad.
Dyad. But then mixed with like almost like brothers, like Tale of Two Sons controls, that dual stick
Right.
kind of controls. So I don't know. Dyad, I played Dyad and didn't really enjoy it. I played some of Dyad, so I don't know if this game is really for me. But I know people that like those sort of like music control games, so I can see why this game could get people excited. I'd be interested to see how it sells.
I just want to see those two almost fuck at the end of the game. Some serious crossbreed there.
A big dragon? A dragon
and a fish?
All right, we got Little Big Planet 3. Kind of, I thought it looked cool. I like the idea of the 4 different characters with different abilities. But
are you kidding me, Dwight guy?
Yeah. No, I'm not
This
I'm not kidding
a
you.
huge disappointment.
But this is the thing, the actual
better than the old ones. Either this game's controls are a piece of shit, or all the people that make this game suck at their own game.
Well, this is
And I hate to say it, but especially the girl. She was brutal. Absolutely brutal.
I totally agree. I mean, the playthrough was the worst, and I don't really understand how that can happen at E3. Like, why are you picking, like, unless they thought, well, we need a female representation, just throw some chick from the development team out there. But, like, I don't know, some of the guys were, like, stumbling and unable to jump too. It almost seemed like there was a lag issue going on or something. I don't know.
They were all bad. I think it was actually the game. I don't think Little Big Planet's controls are perfect. What it gives to you in terms of flexibility and creativity, it lacks in control. Starting with the first Little Big Planet with the jump button, the holding versus tapping for higher jumps was awful in the first game, and it's continued throughout. So unless they start working on their controls and throw some next-gen shit in this, I mean, I'm going to buy it, but it's not looking too good.
I think the thing that was most telling for me was when they had that sort of like spike trap thing that the one guy would push up and then the other guys would run out under, and he just like kept running through and killing the other guy. I don't know why you wouldn't just hold it up and then let everyone through and then just go continue yourself. It seemed frustrating from a viewer point of view that these people were so bad.
But
at the
this
game
is
they came to demo.
This is the thing, though. This kind of shows why everybody just does shitty cinematic trailers, because you take a chance on some live gameplay and this happens. So, kind of sucks.
What about the fact that I'm not always going to have 3 people to play Little Big Planet with?
Right.
Like, it seems they have alternate ways to get around, but I mean, that's not a huge selling point for me.
I'm sure they'll have some sort of single player switching thing going on.
Well, in a lot of the areas, I think they showed you can always climb. They have different abilities to the point that anyone can get through any level, essentially. But I hope that there's not a gender requirement, that one out of your foursome has to be female.
I'm sure they will enforce that in the game. Probably with the PlayStation camera or something.
I'm not ready for that.
What else? So there were a couple original titles announced, Bloodborne and Let It Die. I don't know, like it seems like
Here's
Sony's
a gruesome trailer factor right here.
What's that?
You were talking about it, the blood and guts sort of trailer, and these were right up there.
Yeah, it's pretty much trailer trash.
Along with Dead Island 2. But
I think there's 2 things we haven't touched. Well, 3. All the biggest announcements I think we haven't even talked about, in my opinion.
Let's get right to it.
People were loving Grim Fandango.
Oh, I was pretty stoked about that.
I'm so excited. I've never got to play that game. I've heard only amazing things about it, so that's huge.
Yep.
Dwyer actually had to buy a new keyboard because he creamed all over it.
You know it.
That's amazing. Well, I was sending him texts at the same time, so maybe...
I did have to get a new iPhone last week, actually, so that kind of explains it.
Did you really?
Yeah. My screen was coming off, so I had to get a new one.
Coming off.
Yeah, you were coming on. To me, the most impressive thing that I had no idea was coming was No Man's Sky. I thought this game looked incredible.
Where have you been? This game was at like GDC last year or something, and blew everyone away then.
Yeah, I think it was playing.
I'm sleeping.
I think it was being shown at some of the smaller conferences, but it was never sort of announced at a big thing like this. And definitely, I watched a little bit of the IGN pre-show before the Sony press conference, and they mentioned this game just by title, and they didn't know what it was really, but they said, we got a press release saying that this is going to be announced at some point. And yeah, I mean, clearly it was a big thing that they were showing off. You could tell by where it was in the press conference that they had high hopes for it.
And I can't believe you guys didn't hear about this. This was huge news, like, before Christmas, because the guys who made this game make all the Joe Dangers games.
Right.
Yep.
And just around Christmas of this year, there was a flood. I think they're in London or some town outside of London, and their office flooded, and they lost like the most current version of the game. And they luckily had backup servers at one of the guys' houses that were, so they lost like I don't know how much work, but like that was a pretty interesting news story that came out around Christmas time, that these guys got completely screwed and got set back with this game. But yeah, this game looks incredible. This is one of the most interesting games coming out right now, and it's weird how they're sort of sidestepping questions of what you actually do in the game. Like I listened to an interview with the guy, and he was basically saying, "Oh, we want you to experience it for yourself," kind of thing, and just explore around. So it sounds like maybe this game is literally just pure exploration and no real point.
Yeah.
To it.
I was reading a little bit about it just because I was curious about that as well. Like, I think the trailer's really impressive, and just the idea of this universe that is seemingly huge and kind of random and shared and all this stuff. Like, I would be fine with just exploring that. Like, that does seem compelling to me. But there is a part of me that thinks, I don't know, this could be a game that's just all flash and no substance, and that would kind of be a disappointment.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to drive people to just explore forever, especially when you have a game that seems like it would be sort of similar in like EVE Online, where you have this like massive universe with your own systems and your own trade routes and all this like really detailed stuff that seems like it would be more up people's alleys to play that than potentially this, endless exploration game.
What does any game really have to make you want to play it? Throw in some bullshit design stuff, go to this planet, fetch 3 of these, kill 5 of this, take the photo of 12 of these fucking things. Who cares? They're all the same. To me, as long as they come up with some bare bones motivation with some fun gameplay elements to explore the world, and I see fun gameplay elements in the flying and air combat, I don't know, I think it's not hard to make that amazing, and it's hard to make that a definitive gameplay experience, but it's not hard to throw in a bare bones motivation system for completing tasks in an awesome world.
Yeah, I mean it'll be hard, but
it's not hard. That's the whole point. It's not hard. Look at Lego Marvel. People play that, and it is the most basic, boring, lame mini quest system and doing things. Believe me, it's not hard to throw in some design stuff to motivate people to explore, or just in terms of a checklist, go do this, and that's your reason to leave this planet and go somewhere else.
I guess so.
No, I'm not going forward until you agree.
All right,
Sean, do you agree or not?
No, he doesn't. He's gone to the bathroom.
Oh, Sean, what the...
Leaving you hanging. Well, we're not going anywhere then.
All right, well,
let's move on.
Sean's taking a dump. We'll talk about...
Hey, actually, did you see the announcement for Infamous First Light? Did you see that?
Yeah.
What's that all about? That's like a
one of-
super quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's just a side character, Fetch, which people seem to think they really like that character, and I've been hearing an outcry for more Fetch.
Is that the girl's name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's a good move, and I love the game, so I'm definitely interested.
So do you know, is this just like a DLC pack, or is it like a full-fledged, like, her story?
It's essentially DLC pack, but they said it's standalone as well, so you can just buy it, kind of like they did with the vampire. No, what was the name of it? Festival of Blood or something for Infamous 2.
Or even like Blood Dragon for Far Cry 3 kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. So you can just download it on your phone, but
Okay.
I don't know. I'm interested in that. It wasn't a huge deal. I expected DLC for that game, so it wasn't an enormous surprise. Then we're kind of getting into the tech announcements for Sony. So Project Morpheus, which was really just a taste. We have some tech demos running with that.
Yeah,
Jurassic Experience or something. Sean, caught your eye?
Well, I was disappointed that I first of all was hoping that we would have something more concrete in terms of when it's going to be released. But I understand, like, this is going to be, getting into this VR stuff is going to be incredibly hard to actually show at E3. Like, I don't know how they're even going to, have trailers for these games and stuff. Like, it just seems really hard to get it across without actually playing it.
Agreed. But I think it may come sooner than we think. I hope so. In terms of things Sony could do to stand apart, that's a huge one. And then, to me, the most underrated announcement of the show.
PlayStation TV.
Really?
There's one aspect of this that I thought was amazing, and that's your ability to put this box in any room, and I can stream kind of the same way Vita does on that screen, but I can stream it to another TV. So I can play my PS4 with all my save data, everything going on that's in my living room, on a TV downstairs. I can play it in my bedroom. I just think that, to me, that's a huge deal. That
becomes more like a remote server type thing.
Exactly. I can extend my PlayStation 4 to any TV in my house without having to unhook it and just be a pain in the ass. I love that feature. To me, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I thought the PlayStation Now open beta for July 31st was pretty cool. That they actually are going to open it up to everyone for a while, or potentially a larger group of people.
Huck, interested to see how this conflicts with you. You have your affectionate library.
Yeah,
that has
I love it.
Free games.
Speaking of library, it now carries PS4 games.
Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Yeah. Let's just say the PS4 is going to be happening for sure now.
Oh, well, you've been saying that for a while, bud.
I have no
don't
time.
commit to anything yet. So there's that, but this is a paid online library.
Yep.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what you're thinking. If this is for you, or you're just gonna, get in the car, go up the street, and get a nice old physical copy out.
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm interested to check it out. I mean, it'll depend on the catalog of the library, right? So, if I don't know what exactly is going to be on PlayStation Now. So if it's just all new games, I'm obviously going to stick with my local library.
No, they've said the exact opposite. It's just first going to be almost the entire PS3 library, and then extending back to PS1 classics, PS2 classics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's what I love. And if we just take a second and remember a patent that leaked, that was a way to integrate trophies into old games. That is enormous.
I like that better than it being new games, to tell you the truth, because there's a lot of times where I'm looking at the Sony store and I'm looking back at old games, and I just no, I'm only gonna play if I were to buy that game for $5 or whatever, I know I would only play it for an hour, and enjoy that hour, but then never come back to it. So if I could have like all those games for $5 a month, I think I would be very inclined to do that, just so I could sample things. Especially those games, they take no time to download, right? So it would be really quick turnaround between deciding to download something and play it, and then actually, playing it. So.
Well, I think essentially you wouldn't download anything, right? You'd stream it. Every game would be
right, of course,
the same, really. So, to me, literally nothing would give me more pleasure in life than to platinum the original Crash Bandicoot for PlayStation.
There you go.
If they make that a reality, I have no ceiling on the price for that. Whatever you want to charge, I will pay for a platinum trophy for Crash Bandicoot 1.
Yeah, I agree with you, though, that these announcements that happened seem to be getting no fanfare at all, and they're pretty interesting overall. I mean, I know PlayStation Now is already announced, and I think PlayStation TV might have already been announced too.
It was already out in Japan, right?
In Asia, yeah.
Yeah, they also announced that they're gonna start allowing streaming. Is it streaming or just sharing on YouTube? Which I thought was pretty big.
Yeah, and they pitched this concept of being able to interact with the gamer. Was that them or Xbox? I can't remember. I think it was them, where you can influence them through some interactive...
Oh, that's Sony for sure.
Yeah. So
I've read that in their docs.
I don't know what they have in mind for that, but I don't know. I guess it could be interesting. I'm not a big fan of Twitch or endorser of Twitch. I think it's been good for our live casts and stuff like that, but I don't watch Twitch and go watch people play games.
What do you guys...
How it works is actually people do certain hashtags in this Twitch comment channel, and it'll actually influence the game if they do the right hashtag.
We were doing that with the Dead
already, right? Yeah.
The Dead Riot or Dead Nation game, right? That's what we were playing. That people could do that. What did you guys think about the Nintendo saying, "Yeah, we're not going to do Twitch live streaming because it's boring. Nobody likes it."
I kind of agree. I just was surprised that they then have their own Twitch channel that they used right after their press conference.
I mean, it's just another example of how Nintendo's just kind of behind the times, you know what I mean? Like, they'll have to do it in like 2 or 3 years anyway, but just right now
didn't they get into some deal with YouTube where, like, if someone's showing Nintendo content, they get like 50% of the ad revenue or something?
Well, they were trying to make their own YouTube platform and leverage all the people sharing. Essentially, that's what it was. They're like, people are making money sharing our content. This is bullshit. How can we change this? So I don't know what the exact model is, but that's the intention there. To me, I say this every episode. I have to say it again. Everything Nintendo is lacking, Apple has. The merger for the good of the world, and the good of us. It is literally the best thing that could happen to a gamer.
Okay, one last thing, then we gotta get to Nintendo. Uncharted 4. Did you guys already talk about this?
No, we didn't. And I first of all, love that it said 2015. That's amazing. Yep. Second of all, the lighting of a scene at night has never been done better in history. This is the best looking night scene. This is equivalent to the Pfister's cinematography in the Dark Knight trilogy for video games. Incredible.
It did look really good, but I was surprised, like, some of the E3 recap stuff I've been reading, a lot of people were putting that, like, number one, like, best in show, and, like...
No.
I can't believe, like, there's not a lot there, but there's enough to be excited. It's just, it's not much yet.
For sure.
And did you guys notice the little tease that he was wearing a wedding ring?
Oh.
No.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that, baby. Because I scanned this. This was my cream dream of the show. Well, not really, but I noticed that.
Him and Sully finally hooked up.
All right.
Just before we go quickly, did you guys see that thing about Far Cry 4 where you can invite up to like 10 friends to play it with you for free?
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that.
Oh, I hated that. Oh, I hated that.
Why?
That is classic. Just give gamers. I don't know why that's such an appeal, but give gamers. We're gonna let you do this for free. Free, free, free. Gamers love to hear free. Give me a break. How you're gonna have to download? Well, I guess you're gonna have to download a digital version of the game to be able to do this.
I apparently you only have to download like a small chunk of the game.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see what it is, but I don't know. That's kind of lame.
I mean, it's definitely something to get people on their side, and like kind of like it drew a lot of applause at the press conference when they announced it. But I think it's smart. It's just one of those things that people will try the game, and then eventually I'm sure there will be enough motivation for them to say, I might as well just buy the game, and they'll sell more copies this way.
You know what gamers are like, a lot of them. They will literally just play it for free, as long as they can.
Apparently, I read that you play it, but it also turns off all the like story missions. So basically, you're just playing with your friends running around the world. So I know they didn't really mention that in the press conference. I think I heard it on an interview later. So I don't think it's going to be as compelling as it was originally perceived to be. But
all right.
Wait, hang on.
Go ahead.
Did you guys see all the lens flares on the knives in the Phantom Pain video?
Oh yeah.
It was like constant lens flaring me out.
I was loving it. I thought it was more of an artistic, a clear artistic direction to show not necessarily lens flares, but the reflectiveness, the deadliness of a knife. I thought it was a cunning stroke of genius from Kojima, and I would expect nothing less.
And the other thing is, I thought Arkham Knight looked awesome. We can move on.
Yeah, I talked about this at work the other day. They've had the Batmobile in their pocket since the first edition of this game, right? They made 3 amazing games, and they've yet to unleash the Batmobile. So that alone is going to be a selling factor. Although right before that happened, they had these videos where they were talking. I can't remember which celebrities it was before this. Was it Jay Baruchel and someone? I don't remember. But they're pretty much saying, man, imagine you're a crazy Ninja Turtle in the Batman universe doing all this stuff. And I thought it was finally going to be the Rocksteady Ninja Turtles game announcement, because it was so similar to what they were saying, and then it was this. But
yeah, except we knew that they were working on the next Batman. I guess they could be working on 2 projects.
Yeah, there could be 2 teams, or they could be splitting it up with Montreal too.
Well,
Just make that Ninja Turtles game happen.
Wasn't there also a rumor that it was going to be a Justice League game that they were doing? Or was that... So. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, especially if, if the movies are coming. So, maybe this is a little surprising. I think Batman Arkham Knight looks amazing. I'm not super psyched about the addition of the Batmobile. To me, it just feels like... maybe I'll be proven wrong. I wasn't a huge fan of the change from Arkham Asylum to City when it became more open world, and now it just feels that much more like just another GTA game to me, watching the gameplay. But
John, I hear you. Now, if we could only get, and I know Chio will love this,
yeah,
with that new Batmobile, levels like the Sega CD Batman Returns game.
Oh yeah.
You're going up and down the road shooting things. If there's cool, just driving around gameplay elements, and it's still just as compelling to traverse the city using your cape and other grappling hook technology that you've had in the previous games, and it's just extra cool gameplay mechanics that are introduced by the Batmobile, that's the opportunity for me. But I completely agree, if it's just an excuse to make the city bigger and introduce more time getting between areas, I think that's a mistake too.
It's going to be like Spy Hunter on Commodore 64. That's going to be the main thing.
Then I'm interested.
Guys got to go change pants.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready to talk Nintendo?
Let's do it.
All right,
I've been waiting this whole fucking time to talk about this.
We got to move this along here, but yeah, Nintendo I think was kind of the most interesting press conference because you're always waiting, like, what are they might have some crazy thing up their sleeve, and you know me, I'm always waiting for some sort of Metroid announcement, which obviously never came. But
so neither did you.
Right. But at least they didn't announce another Mario game. I mean, they announced games for all of the peripheral characters from the Mario universe, but not another Mario game. So at least they realized that they've kind of oversaturated that a little bit.
Speak for yourself.
Okay.
Well, the year of Luigi is over, so...
Do you know what I would have given for a Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD remake bundle? Holy shit. That would be my most anticipated game in the whole thing. Do you know how good Mario Galaxy would look in HD? It's insane. You guys haven't played Mario Kart yet. What Nintendo does with HD and their art style is unparalleled. They don't need the technology. Mario Kart's proven it. We'll get into Zelda later. I think that's a different beast at this point. But that's not saying I didn't like what Nintendo did at all. I actually am really intrigued by a lot of the games they announced, and in terms of what you said, Sean, the Mario franchise and its peripheral characters, that Captain Toad game, those levels in Mario World that came out are actually pretty intriguing and fun, and I'm curious to see an expanded version of that style. I think that is actually really good. And the Yoshi's Woolly World, I think that's what it's called, I think looks like a lot of fun as well. I love the art style. Not so much just we've seen Epic Yarn, we've seen taking things and putting into that, but the extra level of polish on the Wii U and how things unravel and it's not mind blowing, but it's a game I didn't even know about, and it looks like it's almost done.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good, and also the Kirby game. I mean, Kirby games are always, I always feel like I'm kind of interested, but they end up being, they're just a little too easy, too much targeted at kids, but I don't know, like the claymation.
A little too slow.
Yeah, but the claymation style also in that looks amazing. So yeah, all three of those games seem pretty cool to me.
I couldn't tell if the Kirby game was 3DS though. It didn't look that good to be a Wii U game. I thought it had to be 3DS, but I could be wrong.
Maybe you're right, actually. I'll double check that.
Or I think it might be an eShop game or something like that. It looked like a step down from a full Wii release, from the brief glimpse that I saw.
Okay. Well, what about Super Smash Brothers? Obviously, that's the big thing they're plugging right now. And the Amiibo figures. I know this was something you were pretty excited about, Frank.
Amiibo had me. Everyone hates the name. I absolutely love the name and the logo. I love that there's 6 different colors, 3 on each side of the Amiibo logo. Beautiful stroke of genius. This, when you talk, I like the idea of Disney Infinity, kind of. I thought it had potential. It's pretty shit in execution, and where they're going with it is even less interesting. But the fact that Nintendo is doing this, and the best thing, we'll see if this actually plays out the way they say, but these things will go across games, they work in multiple games, and I love the fact that you store information in it. It's different for everyone. It's not just some random toy that everyone has the same thing. You can build up a character and level up a toy. Definitely taking it a step above the other games that are similar to it. I'm going to buy every Amiibo, or at least attempt to.
You know what I found the most interesting about this is my first thought was that they were just seeing how much money Skylanders was making, and just went to go copy it.
Exactly.
But then they showed that to actually load your Amiibo into the game, you just kind of hold it up to the gamepad, which means they most likely had this in mind when they were designing the gamepad. So they were actually quite forward-thinking with this whole thing. And
when they first showed the Wii U, they had a Rayman game that they were showing that would use this thing to bring characters into the game. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's pretty smart of them to do this, especially with Skylanders being just huge right now. I mean, you put Mario toys on the shelf next to Skylanders, and I can tell you which one's going to win out. It's not going to be Skylanders.
It'll be tough to say with younger audiences, but people our age and younger maybe that would have scoffed at stuff like Skylanders and Disney Infinity, there's a lot of them that will not scoff at Nintendo toys.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. There's a lot of video game designers who are going to be buying these things. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess there was also the announcement that you can bring Mii's into Super Smash Brothers as well. That's kind of interesting, I guess. I kind of like that. Looking forward to seeing Michael Haneke take on somebody in Super Smash Brothers.
Fuck yourself, Ben Affleck and Argo.
Yeah.
Those are both HBO creations.
Yeah. I guess, well, we might as well just get right to the Zelda.
Finally.
Let's do it.
Biting my tongue.
What do you got to say about it, Frank?
Maybe an unpopular opinion. I do not see the hype. I see it, but I'm surprised there hasn't been more of a backlash to the Zelda announcement. There's so little to be seen here, and to me it was a smoke and mirrors demo. I thought it was pre-rendered. I do not think that is in-game footage, and they've never addressed it, which to me definitely means it's not in-game footage. And they actually did a clever thing. They had like this repeating ambient part of the video that seemed like it was a game on pause or on idle that probably influenced people to think, maybe this is in game, or you kind of subliminally think, oh, they're just showing Link standing around. But I still think all that stuff was canned video as well. And I love the visual concepts for this. I thought it looked amazing. I'm not convinced if that's real gameplay. But the biggest thing, and this is getting back to the trend I alluded to earlier in the show. We want everyone's Zelda's open world. Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. I've played pretty much every Zelda game. At no point in my life have I been playing a Zelda game and said, this is good, but imagine if it was open world, it'd be even better. That's why I play Zelda.
Zeldas are open world.
Well, they're kind of. It's not as open, but they eliminate the bullshit. They condense a gameplay experience into amazing moments and fun moments. I do not need to traverse a world to get to the fun moment. That is not that interesting to me. Maybe they have compelling ways to do that. But Zelda is fine. It did not need to be fucked with that much. They could make it amazing, and I could be proven wrong, but the last thing on my mind when I'm playing Zelda is, I'm sick of these games. They're not open world. I'm not walking 10 minutes to the next thing every time. What a waste.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually with you on this, Frank. Like, I mean, I don't really understand the distinction. Like, I get, again, it just seems like, in my head, I'm like, okay, Zelda turned into Grand Theft Auto. So, like, a million extra fetch quests that I don't care about, like, enemies just randomly getting in my way when I'm trying to go somewhere, like having to wait longer to get to places, like all these things that just are an annoyance to me in games. Why do I want that in Zelda? I don't know. I guess...
Exactly, but to be fair, I like the original concept that the producer said, that it's more about the puzzle is how you get to places. Now that can be frustrating or it can be cool if implemented properly. So if that is almost taking Metroid elements and putting them into a Zelda game and having to explore and unlock areas of the map, that could be good too. It's just the basic idea of it's not necessarily the game's decision to do it, it's the reaction that everyone says this is what we've been waiting for. An open world Zelda is just so unclear to me as to why that's the case, or what was broken about Zelda that it needed to be open world.
Yeah,
I would consider almost, the original Zelda open world. I would consider Link to the Past open world. I would consider Ocarina of Time open world. I mean, I don't care if I can't walk to that mountain I can see in the distance. every time. Like, I don't know. I would already consider those games open world. I don't know what's the difference is going to be, other than maybe it's bigger open world. And I'm in the same boat as you guys. I don't get the draw. I mean, maybe if they hired the level designer from Tomb Raider and made every map super interesting and, you know, just well designed, I can see it being more interesting than a typical Zelda map. But I mean, normally they would take that effort and put it into the dungeons. So I don't know, maybe they're getting rid of dungeons somehow and just having
I hope not. Oh my god.
And just having like almost like open world pits that are now like dungeons.
That would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
it's just what's great about Zelda is everything you're near is interesting or something that has potential to explore, and I hope that's not gone from this game. I love the look, don't get me wrong. If they can pull off this level fidelity, or even I just love the art style itself, that's fine. I have complete faith that a Zelda game will be good. It's more the reaction that's been surprising to me. The one other thing, are we all in agreement that this was a canned video, or do people... I've heard conflicting things where people think that is actually in-game stuff, and I just don't see it.
I thought it was canned.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, their presentation is not live on a stage, so I mean, it makes it even harder to tell, right?
Clearly the second part where the horse is running, and oh my god, that horse animation, that's the best horse animation I've ever seen in my life. It fucking blew my mind. It was one of the best things I saw. And when he fights that monster and how that was obviously a video, an awesome one, but a video.
Yeah. Now, what about the other burning question going around the internet? Is this a female Link? Is this Zelda? Or is it just a very effeminate new design for Link?
I'm going to say effeminate Link.
Yeah, I think so too. But some people seem to think...
Isn't every Japanese design male kind of female? Female attributes?
Yeah, and I think Link in particular has been getting progressively more effeminate with every game, but...
Feminine? I don't know.
Yeah. But on a related note, did you guys have any thoughts on Hyrule Warriors? Like, that's actually coming out this year. I don't know, it doesn't look like my kind of game, but...
Yeah, I'm not into the Destiny Warriors series, but it looked interesting from a... I felt that the characters were really powerful, and some of the finishing moves were interesting. I'm slightly intrigued.
I am too. I think it's a nice change from the other types of games Nintendo's been doing lately.
Yeah, so the other two games that I wanted to talk about are Mario Maker, which I thought looked pretty interesting. I mean, it's strange because, you know, there's games like Little Big Planet and lots of games have level editors and stuff, and I've never really been that interested in actually using those. But for some reason, seeing them play with, like, you know, the assets from like a classic Mario game just seemed like I would like to play with that. So it looked kind of cool. And
yeah,
then,
I liked when they turned on the, you know, you can design with basic building blocks and they flip a switch and it's current looking Mario with those elements.
Right.
And it'd be interesting if there's lots of ways to skin it, like the different looking levels in Mario. Essentially, you could use those same building blocks and use different artwork and get some variety in that sense too with the same editor.
Right. And then I guess the other pretty original thing that they announced is a game called Splatoon, which is a multiplayer game where you're using paint within like a level, and you're trying to paint as much surface with your color as possible, but then you can turn into a squid and swim through your color paint to traverse it more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a unique concept. I mean, for me, it's not something that would necessarily be a system seller, but it's the kind of stuff that Nintendo needs to be doing more of, I think.
Yeah, what a breath of fresh air this game was. in terms of a shooter, the color, the interesting design decisions for a squad-based shooter. This is one of the highlights of E3 for me, and I watched some people playing it after the fact, and it looked really cool.
This fits right into Nintendo's like game style, and I think having it not be as competitive, maybe not as competitive, but not as like against the player. You're more like trying to paint the world, right? I think that could lead to some interesting strategies and interesting things in the game that can make each match really interesting. It'd be interesting to see how the levels are designed.
Yeah, for sure. What I thought is, I don't think there's a real score count during the game. It's more you're looking at your gamepad, which has the map and the paint coverage, and you're trying to visually see if you're winning or losing. And it's coming down to the last second to see who wins, and you have a game in itself of determining if you're winning or not based on the visual representation of the map.
Yeah, I think it's a good use of the gamepad too. For once.
Yep.
Okay, so what else? Anything else you guys need to mention from the Nintendo press conference?
Well, Star Fox wasn't in it, but we all know about that. Not a lot to say about it. Xenoblade Chronicles, I know a lot of people like that game. Wasn't a huge deal to me. I think it's cool that Bayonetta 2 comes with original Bayonetta.
That's pretty cool.
Deal, but, yeah. Did you guys watch that big robot video either, or Miyamoto's demo of that game, where it's like a Godzilla thing where you're a big robot and controlling it?
No.
It seemed okay. Nothing too amazing. But again, trying to push creative ways to use the gamepad. Yeah, I don't know. Nintendo just probably is hoping to make a lot of money with Amiibo.
Yeah, I think so.
So how long before Microsoft has their own Amiibo version that the Kinect reads in?
Yeah. Hopefully tomorrow, but it could be a while.
Well, they'll have to wait to see if Nintendo actually makes money, and then they'll copy it.
Yeah.
All right, any other important stuff before we get to our top fives of E3?
I don't think so.
That was a lot of stuff, as it is, so...
Yeah, we probably scanned over a bunch, but...
I think, in general, I felt like the Nintendo press conference actually worked pretty well, being in that, like, pre-canned digital version.
I completely agree, especially with translation stuff. That's so awkward on stage, and you're able to do it at the same time in those videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't love about it is they were very... I don't know, I felt like they spent a little too much time sometimes talking to the developers and letting them sort of tell their stories. Like, it's cool to feature them and stuff, but I don't know. It's just weird that they spent a lot of time on some of that stuff, and then stuff like the new Miyamoto game was not in the press conference. I don't understand why you would leave that out.
Just because if you saw them, they're not in a state to show it. They're cool conceptual things, but I'd leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
I felt like the Dev Diary stuff worked well until the last one with the Splatoon team. I felt that one went on forever.
Yeah.
One other thing I have to mention about Nintendo, Sean, you and I were texting.
Yeah.
And at the end of the Yoshi's Woolly World, the producer said, "We want this to be a game that you're happy just to own it." Was, I think, their words.
Right.
And I texted to you, "Oh no, it brings a smile to your face just by owning it." I go, "Every game brings a smile to my face just by owning it." That is literally enough for me, especially Nintendo stuff. So I just thought it was hilarious when those guys said that at the end of their thing. We just want you to be happy that you bought it, even if you never play it, which is essentially, for both of us, most of the games in our library.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, so we're going to count down our top five. Top 5.
Fuck
Well,
yeah.
for me, it's top 5 games. I don't know if you guys have top 5 moments or highlights or
yeah.
whatever.
This is not games for me.
All right, number 5.
I usually don't like ties or stuff like that. I had to make a tie for Nintendo. My number 5, Splatoon and Amiibo.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Look at that.
My number 5 is actually, we didn't talk about this because it wasn't at any of the press conferences, but Alien Isolation. Previously announced. I've been kind of following it with a fair amount of interest. I really want to believe that this will be a good Alien game. And the concept is pretty interesting. The idea that there is only one alien and you're not there to kill it. You're trying to get away from it. And there's other stuff going on at the same time. I don't know. It seems like they've got the atmosphere and stuff there. I just don't know if there's enough other stuff going on to make it completely compelling.
My number 5 is actually Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. For some reason, this game kind of hit home with me that I might be actually interested in this. So, yeah, number 5.
Huge. Frank?
My number 4, PlayStation TV. The ability to extend consoles to any room in the house is a proposition too interesting for me to ignore.
Well, I want to put the PlayStation TV on my list because I just want to have some piece of hardware. Like, I wish there was a little more hardware being announced. But my number 4 is Sunset Overdrive. Could potentially get me to buy an Xbox One by the end of the year. We will see.
Go buy an Xbox tomorrow. And a Wii U.
I'd say
I mean, children's future.
I'm closer to buying a Wii U right now than an Xbox One. So to be fair, that's a pretty big statement for Sunset Overdrive.
Look out. My number 4, I'm going to do a tie for this one too because it's kind of, they're both the same. But
you can't have a tie at number 4. You got to bump your number 5.
No. This is the same. Well, basically it was for Inside, the Limbo developer game. But I was also going to give a nod to that Valiant Hearts one. That's also like an indie artistic game. And I think there was one other sort of artistic one. I guess Cuphead could go in here too. But basically, indie artistic games that were shown.
Indie artistic games.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Okay.
Mainly Inside. I liked that trailer that Inside showed, and I think that the art style is a nice build on top of what they did with Limbo. So I'm pretty interested to see how they sort of progress gameplay mechanics and their like story. Seemed interesting.
All right.
My number 3, I won't spend too much time on it. Sunset Overdrive.
All right, my number 3, Grim Fandango. Did not really get a chance to play it when it originally came out because I didn't have a PC that was good enough to play it at the time. And then I remember trying to play it a couple years later, but it was just kind of outdated by that time. I think the thing that excites me the most about it is I think, it's not like bringing back one of Tim Schafer's 2D adventure games. Like, this is something that could benefit from a remaster because it was early days of 3D. I think it could look amazing.
Yeah, I agree, actually. My number 3, the Uncharted 4 teaser. It was pretty. Frank said, best night scene he's ever seen in his life.
That says it all.
Just another Uncharted game is right up my alley. Super excited for it. So, who knows when it'll come out, but excited for it.
My number 2, Cuphead.
Yes.
Wow.
Almost number 1.
I
seriously debated.
Can't wait to see what's number 1. Because you were going crazy over Cuphead.
I was going crazy over Cuphead. I still am going crazy over Cuphead. And I want everyone listening to this podcast to get crazy over Cuphead and go check it out.
I'm starting to get the sense that we're all going to have the same number 1. Just throwing that out there.
Not at all. Actually, I totally fucked up. I missed one that is your number one that should be on my list.
I think I did too.
Oh.
Because it was on my list, and then I fucked up.
All right, number 2, Inside. I mean, it's crazy that the Limbo guys haven't done anything new. Like, they've been clearly working on this for a few years now, and I think it looks gorgeous, but still in the vein of Limbo.
I mean, I'm going to say it. I don't care. Limbo's overrated. It's good. It's not the masterpiece.
But this is the thing. I think Limbo... I kind of agree Limbo's a little overrated, but I think it shows so much potential, and I think this is going to be the game where they actually had the time and the resources to make something amazing. But
all right.
We'll see.
All right.
All right, my number 2, and actually for the main reason... or for the one reason we didn't even talk about, is Star Wars Battlefront. And we didn't mention this, but Amy Hennig, who used to be the lead writer on the Uncharted series, is the lead writer on this game now. So I think she does good work, and I think having her behind a Star Wars IP could really benefit it. I'm dying for a Star Wars IP. I also read an interview or listened to a podcast basically saying that this Battlefront game is going to have basically like everything you could possibly want in it. So just that there, I'm excited for it. So
cool.
Star Wars.
Well, I clearly omitted or failed to put No Man's Sky on my list.
So did I.
Accidentally. So let's do a tie for number 1.
Got to bump your number 5, bud.
That's right. Exactly. We're going to tie No Man's Sky, and to me, the only game that felt next-gen at any press conference, The Order, 1886.
Beautiful.
Wow. Well, as you probably have guessed, my number 1 is No Man's Sky. I still think it could be a game that totally comes out and just is a total misfire, total bomb. I don't know, but that trailer looked amazing. And I even just the description, like them talking about what they're inspired by and stuff, like this seems like it's up my alley. So I'm in.
My number 1, I'm just going to totally shun No Man's Sky now because you guys both put it at number 1. The new Tomb Raider announcement, I think...
This guy says he hates CG trailers.
Hey, I don't care about the trailer. I'm not saying the trailer.
Every game on his list doesn't even have footage. It's just CG teases.
I'm an ideas man. I don't care about the CG. The concept that we're getting a new Tomb Raider.
The concept of a sequel to Tomb Raider had eluded you until they announced it.
It had. It would never happen. I thought we were just going to get definitive editions forever.
I'd be fine with that.
All right, that's it.
All right, any honorable mentions?
Ori and the Magical Forest. There was a couple others. Zelda, I guess, even though I'm a little hesitant. What else? No, that's it for me. Sean?
Just Lara Croft in the Temple of Osiris. Doesn't, I don't think it deserved to be on the list because it kind of just looks like more of the same with better graphics, but I'm excited.
Nothing for me.
All right. So we're going to have to move quick here. So we're going to talk about a few things we played briefly.
Okay, I'll go first. I will burn through this. Number 1, Peggle 2. Finally, last night, 100%ed this bitch.
Nice.
First time I've done that since I don't know when. And I love Peggle 2. Highly recommend it. Child of Light, which is fantastic. Looks amazing. The battle system, I love. I don't know if there's other RPGs that I haven't played that have a similar battle system, but it's got enough interactivity, enough. I love the timeline manipulation. Solid recommend on Child of Time. I'm just waiting to have some vacation and sink some continuous time into it. And I guess finally I'll mention I got back into Dead Rising. I really didn't play it as a launch title, and with the announcement at E3 for that new version of the game, I actually popped it back in, and I like it quite a bit. I think they've addressed a lot of the things that bothered me about previous Dead Rising games, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm not getting frustrated. I feel like I'm enabled to be powerful and destroy things. The combo system is not a chore. They make it readily available to you, even with vehicles, which I think is an awesome addition. I don't know. I haven't had that much fun with the Dead Rising game in a long time, so I would give... I don't think a lot of people talked about this game. I think it kind of got brushed aside, and I think it's better than what it's been given credit for.
Is it, aside from Titanfall, the must-have game for the Xbox One right now?
I think a lot of the games on Xbox One are kind of underrated. I know they've announced Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare for PS4 now as well, and I think that's, up until then, was a fun exclusive title for them. I like Titanfall. I think Rise is pretty good. I think Rise has gotten a bad rap too, which I mentioned on the last show. And Forza is fun as well. I think it's actually got some solid games. To me, the only real game that stands out from either of the next-gen consoles that's exclusive is Infamous. Nothing else has reached that level for me at all.
Right. Okay, I'll jump in with a couple quick things. I actually have been playing Peggle 2 as well, because it's out on the 360 now too. A little disappointed that I didn't get a chance to play. I really wanted to play it on a mobile device, because it's just a great game for that. Take where you are and be addicted to it. But I will mention that there was an iOS game that I thought would scratch that itch, called Super Monkey Ball Bounce. They basically took Super Monkey Ball and then just ripped off Peggle. And I was surprised how much they stole. Like, just the idea of the bucket going back and forth at the bottom of the screen, and the zoom in on the final peg, and all this stuff. Like, it's really, they stole a lot of stuff. But they added some interesting new things, like there's boss fights. But the thing that sucks is it's one of these freemium games where you have so many plays per day, and then you have to basically start paying for it. So I kind of played for a while and got to a certain point where, now you got to pay to keep playing, and I haven't really gone back to it since. And then comparing it to Peggle 2, the presentation of Peggle is just far superior. Like, even just the sound of the ball going down is so much more satisfying. Super Time Force, also out for Xbox One and Xbox 360, developed by Capybara in Toronto. It's I thought it was going to be right up my alley, and it's kind of like Contra, but with this weird sort of time rewind mechanic built into it. But and I haven't played enough to totally judge, but I was surprised at how confusing it gets right off the bat. Because the idea is you hit a certain point and you can pause and then rewind time and bring back a new version of your character into the same level, and you start having like all these multiple versions of your character all over the place, and you just, I don't know, it starts to become really hard to follow what's going on. It's complete chaos. So I don't know, it's got a kind of a quirky sense of humor, and obviously some chiptune music, some pixel art that Frank loves, lots of good stuff, but I don't know,
well,
just a little unwieldy.
What was their one game? What was the name of the game on PlayStation 3 that was a puzzle game that was super slick
Critter
looking?
Crunch?
Yeah, Critter Crunch. That game looked amazing. Like, that's an art style. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm with you.
One thing, sorry, I just forgot to mention, I have to say, Mario Kart 8, the best.
Yeah?
That's all I've played, really. I've been playing that nonstop.
See, I'm curious, because, I really would like to try it. I just find, like, every Mario Kart comes out, and I'm kind of, like, interested to see what new they've done with it, and I find that somehow they always mess something up. And I honestly, for me, nothing has beat the Super Nintendo one. I know a lot of people disagree on that, but I don't know. Every time I try a new one, I'm always disappointed.
There are two. One's minor, one's major. Glaring problems with this game, and if they fix those, we're looking at a potential perfect game here, Sean.
Okay.
So number one, when you finish a race and you're about to go to next race, the button defaults to being on view instant replay, not next race. So if you're just tapping A to get to the next race, I always go to watch this replay, and it is the worst. I have to wait for that load, then a load till I can get out of that. Whoever thought of that is a fucking moron and should be fired. Number two, they have completely ruined battle mode.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard actually about this one.
It's all tracks. It's impossible to find anyone. And this is why it's particularly offensive to me. A battle mode track, in essence, is not hard. Make a square with some boundaries on it. You have all the art assets in the game. Get some level designers to make battle mode tracks. I guarantee you they could make 6 decent tracks in 2 days, maybe a week. Give them a week to really fucking dazzle you, knock your socks off. It is the most ridiculous thing, and if they'll probably just address it through DLC potentially. If they don't, huge missed opportunity.
Well,
so can you do local?
You can, but there's no local plays even worse because there's 4 of you on this huge track. You can't find anyone.
Well, you could do versus though and stuff, races. Could you do like
that's
2-player?
4-player, everything. Like that stuff's all good. Classic Mario Kart, but really shot themselves in the foot in a couple areas, which just don't make sense to me.
Now, is it still, like, I know we've had this debate at some point, but the idea of when you're losing the race, you get all the best power-ups and you can immediately put yourself right back into first place easily, or is it...
Well, I don't think you can put yourself back into first place easily. They give you that stuff. But, Sean, you got to learn how to play good defense in these games. It's not just, power-ups rule the world. You got to know how to play a little kart. You got to know what you're doing out there. You got to make some big risk-reward decisions and going for power-ups. You got to be knowing your exploits for shell avoidance. There's so many subtleties to this game that I don't think Sean's ready for.
But do you not agree that a lot of like the Mario Kart games, it became a little too powerful?
Yeah.
Like it was all about always keeping it close, even if the person in last place really sucks and the person in first place is like an amazing Mario Kart player. Like that kind of bugs me.
We played today, 4-player, and Alex won every game. He's clearly the better racer, so he was good enough that power-ups did not shit on him for a majority of the races.
All right. That sounds good to me.
Does the battle mode feel like forced out at all, or is it just that you think they made the decision to go using tracks?
I have no idea. I think it was motivated by the fact that they have 12 players at once now, and maybe a traditional battle mode track would be too frantic. So they thought, well, if we put them in regular tracks, they'll be spaced out. Maybe it is better with 12 people online, but for local play, it is not good.
Because I was wondering if, because GameSpy shut down, the Wii version of Mario Kart doesn't work online anymore. So I was just wondering if maybe they forced this one out ahead of schedule just to try to limit the amount of time when people weren't able
I don't
to
think
play
so.
online.
Like I said, to make battle mode tracks, like that's the easiest thing in the world. They were literally in Super Mario squares with walls.
Yeah.
It should not take a lot of time to do that.
And that
If
one
they're
where you
talking
could jump the wall.
If they're talking about it would take 2 days to make, by the same exaggeration of it would take 3 days to include a girl character in a game, it would take 5 minutes to make proper battle mode tracks.
Right.
On that sliding scale of game time management.
Okay, I only had a couple other quick things. I finished Tearaway on the Vita, and it gets pretty interesting.
The game?
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Hey man, where were you last show? I finished like 2 or 3. It gets pretty interesting by the end, especially when they kind of recap your journey and you see all the things that you customized in the game. I thought that was pretty interesting. And, just the idea that they keep playing up the interaction between the character in the game and you, the game player, outside the game, and they keep having like a camera focused on you. Sometimes they're taking pictures of you and you don't even know it, and then it shows up in the game. That's kind of fun. And I've been playing Fez on the Vita, and it looks gorgeous. That's about all I have to say. I guess we should say some of us have played a little bit of Watch Dogs, but we're going to kind of hold off and try and play some more before we talk about it on a future episode.
My quick reaction would be, it's better than reviews say it is.
I don't know about that yet.
Whoa!
I also don't know about that yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So you done there, Sean?
Yep.
So I finished off 2 old games. I finally finished Ni no Kuni and whatever the White Witch game is called. I don't know what the full title is. But that game overall, I enjoyed. I got a little frustrated at the end because it has these really long, when you get to the higher levels, the spells take really long to cast, and the boss enemies can do moves that cancel your spells, and when you go through a big long spell only to have it canceled, it gets really frustrated. Also, to revive characters, there's this really long healing animation, and if you die while that's in the process of happening, it doesn't actually kick in. So I ended up dying a few times because, the little heal light wasn't all the way down on the character. But other than that, it's like a typical fine RPG. Anyone who's desperate to play an RPG, I would definitely recommend it to them.
I was, my biggest barrier to entry and why I haven't sat back down with it is being a little weary of the Pokemon companion-esque part of the game being too much work and not that interesting.
Yeah, I found I was basically I found one character for each guy I liked, and then just kind of kept them the whole time. And then near the end of the game, I went on a walkthrough and kind of found good guys for each character. But it was funny because I spent all this time leveling up these characters. There's this one area you can level up really easily, and it was amazing how it almost only ever used like one, because you get 3 per character. It only ever used like 1. It was so strange. It never really, the AI never really flipped between them in the way I thought they would. So I don't even know if that system really is fleshed out and really works very well. It's kind of just, fodder for spending your time. You can probably get through the game playing with like the first 3 guys you find, I bet. Then I also beat Walking Dead Season 1. I had finished the first 3 episodes, so I just recently finished episode 4 and 5. That game's good. I don't know if it deserves like such a crazy high praise that it has, but it's definitely good story, and I enjoyed it. Then when the Last of Us DLC came out, I went back to The Last of Us and tried to play it on Survivor. I think Survivor is the highest difficulty, and made it not very far actually before the difficulty just became too much for me. And it gets to the point where one little mistake and you're starting over. There's no way you're getting through an area. So I didn't even start to make it to the actual areas I would consider hard even. So I probably will not return to that, and probably won't return to to play the DLC.
Well, I think the idea for that is to do that in their New Game Plus. If you do it right from the beginning, isn't there a way to do that in New Game Plus mode?
Maybe.
Or no, I think you have to have beaten it on Survivor.
Yeah, I think so.
To play it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was only able to New Game Plus normal.
because they don't give you your sound sensory in that version, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was really hard to know where guys were.
I think that's something you have to do. Literally, you play the game once or a couple times, know where everything is, and you have to know that stuff to do it again.
Yeah, it was difficult without that. It was hard to plan. I had to really rely on kind of going really slow and trying to plan out where everyone is, but I mean, just guys would creep up on you all the time.
So, sorry, this is required to play the DLC, or like...
No. I wanted to try to beat it on Survivor before I played the DLC.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of spoiled my mood to try to get the DLC, so maybe if the DLC goes on sale, I'll pick it up, but right now I don't have any motivation to go back and pick it up.
Here's a question. The Last of Us Remastered Edition, can you transfer your progress from a game to the new game? From PS3 to PS4?
That'd be interesting, because they have the cloud save stuff, so...
I feel like they announced some game recently, a remastered version, where you could do that. And I don't know if it was The Last of Us. I don't think it was.
It's not that.
Maybe it was Diablo?
Oh, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. See,
I'm glad I held out on playing Grand Theft Auto 5 for the next-gen version.
See, I don't know, man. I would be very, very much motivated to go back to The Last of Us and finish it if I could pick it up on the PS4, but I don't know if I'm going to go back to it now.
Well, maybe. It seems like if Grand Theft Auto 5 can do it, although maybe they put something up to their own servers, I'm not sure.
I would not be surprised if that is possible.
Yeah.
Oh, I should mention one other thing. I played a bit of Final Fantasy XIV online because they let you migrate to a free PS4 copy when it launched, and I had never opened my PS3 copy, so I was like, I should probably do this. And I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. I only used my free month and played it a bit, but in terms of an MMO, I love the artwork. I liked the controls. I thought it looked awesome. I don't know. I thought it was pretty decent. I see why the Reborn versions have gotten such positive reviews, and as a console MMO, I'm down, baby. If only I had 60 hours a week to play this game, it would be perfect.
There you go.
Do you guys not just... I think we've talked about this before. Do you not just pray for a game? Maybe like finding a soulmate in life. Just a game that once you play it, you don't want to play anything else. And this game is huge in scope. Like people who connect with WoW. Just a game that is your game soulmate, that you don't even have to worry about another game for the rest of your life. This game is so good, you can ignore every other game in the world. You're like, whatever, it's not as good as my game. I just want that. I long for that.
Make it.
I want a game that is so good it consumes me completely. And I don't think it's going to happen. I'm starting to think I'm getting to the point in my life I'm not going to find my game soulmate.
I have a feeling if I had the time, I think I could do that for EVE Online. I think that game would... Yeah. You've never seen... That game has crazy, like, politics and all this crazy stuff that happens behind the scenes. It seems, like, really interesting how it... I don't know. I backed Star Citizen, okay? Space Sim.
A lot of people backed that game.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
true.
it like, didn't it get 17 million or something?
I don't know. A lot. I only gave him $35, so for the game. That's it. People are buying like crazy ships and stuff anyways. So I went to the library, picked up 3 games that I played a little bit of. The first one is Thief, which I was actually enjoying it quite a bit. I just ran out of time. I didn't get very far into it, but I felt like the stealth was well done. I felt like when you died or got discovered, you weren't really penalized that badly. They had some really neat tech where when you'd look at a dark area, it'd be very dark, but then once you went into that dark area, your eyes would adjust and everything would actually brighten up, which I thought was pretty nice. Kind of similar to like, was it HDR lighting? It must have been something similar to that. But I thought it was just a really nice touch, because normally when you go into like a dark alley, it just stays dark, and it's, you know, hard to see, which doesn't make sense. So I thought that little point was really cool. Yeah, it was hard, but they did have lots of checkpoints for you to get. So even when you got caught, you didn't feel like you were wasting your time. The other game I played, I still have it actually at my house, but haven't played too much of it, was The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well, we know you're a lover of the original swing mechanics.
That's right.
Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 1.
Let me tell you, this one does not add up. The swinging is like really stiff feeling. It doesn't, in the original Spider-Man 2, it felt like you're in control from what I remember, whereas this one, it almost feels like you're kind of stuck in canned animations a lot of the times. Long load times, I don't know what's up with them. I went into like a comic book shop and it took like minutes to load this small level, and then I was in there for literally 5 seconds and then left, and another like 2-minute load. I've currently skipped every single cutscene as soon as it comes up because it's just so bad. The acting and like whatever they're trying to tell is just not appealing at all. And it has gotten really repetitive. The only thing I've really seen is just combat. There's nothing really. There was one car chase thing that I did, which was not explained at all on how to do it. And then the last library game I've been playing is Wolfenstein, which I'm really enjoying right now, actually. It has great pacing. The destructible environments actually add a lot to the gameplay because guys will hide behind them and you can actually shoot them through and it'll break away and expose them, and then they'll actually move away. They won't just stand there like idiots. And I find the level design and enemy placement and how they move around the level is really well done. This game actually I'm enjoying much more than Watch Dogs. I know there was talk that more people should be talking about Wolfenstein than Watch Dogs, and at this point I totally agree with them. And the last thing I played was I went on a bit of a Vita kick and I bought Persona 4 Golden, so I was playing that a little bit, and I'm having a hard time kind of getting into it, but overall it's okay. I know it's like one of the highest rated RPGs on the Vita, but I just haven't really been able to crack what makes it tick yet. And that's it for me.
In essence, you're saying it's an overrated piece of shit.
Well, maybe as of right now, but I know I'm not very far into it.
I'm reading between the lines here. I like it. Sorry, I got to interrupt, Sean. I didn't mention the new Mario Golf for 3DS.
Oh, that's right.
It's amazing. The perfect golf game. Finally perfected because of the spin controls. Better than any other Toadstool Tour. What a marvel. I need to be playing this game more.
Do you use a touchpad to spin it?
God, no. We don't need no bullshit gimmicks. You just hold in a direction.
All right, let's get to some junk mail. We had some left over from last week because there was a bit of a technical glitch.
A snafu, if you will.
Let's call it a Dwai guy.
Call it a user error. It was, I don't know really what happened. I had set up a forwarding thing from the Game Junk email to my email, and something disabled it. And I think it might have been because I was forwarding from Game Junk to Film Junk to my email, and because I never log into Film Junk, it may have marked it as inactive or something. Anyway, we got some stuff from last week and some new stuff. Let's just fly through this stuff because we got to wrap it up. But Anthony in Wisconsin says, "Hey, Game Junkers, what are some games that you've played that were intellectually engaging, either from the sense that it's like a puzzle, bringing up interesting concepts, or made you look at what games could be in a new light? Keep up the good work, Anthony.
Definitely Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. Trying to think of some other ones.
BMXXX.
The Guy game.
See, I think there's his question, like, for me, it's two different things. Like, there's games that make you look at games in a new way, and then there's just games that are intellectually stimulating. And I guess there's some overlap there, but...
I think there's one that fits the bill that you're playing right now, Dwight.
Fez, yeah.
Fez.
Definitely was on my list.
That's a perfect example.
Yep. Other stuff I would put up there, the Portal games, the game Antichamber, which is definitely... Just go through all my mindfuck of the months, and you got your answer for the most part.
What about a cliche mind stimulation one? The Professor Layton series.
You know what? I've never played any of those games. I've always kind of thought that I should check them out, and I just never got around to it. Have you played any?
It's classic puzzles.
Yeah?
Yeah, like logic puzzles. And
Yeah,
stuff.
do you remember the game like Mind Trap, the board game?
Love Mind Trap.
It's essentially Mind Trap, the video game.
Is there a story, though, or like what connects all this stuff?
Yeah, you're solving mysteries, bud.
I might have to check out some Professor Layton. It's probably time I got into Professor Layton.
I think you'd positively adore it.
You would be able to play it too because it's mobile.
Yeah.
On 3DS.
Yeah.
2DS.
You guys are selling me right now.
Yes.
I'd rather you took that money and put it towards a Wii U.
In terms of games that made you look at games in a new light, I would also throw something like Heavy Rain in there. Not the most intellectually stimulating, but it's definitely different. What about you guys? Got anything else for this?
Not really.
The only ones I could...
They're all the same. They're all Pong, as Mr. Gecko would say.
The only ones I could think of were like Shadow of the Colossus, Eco.
Oh, that's a good one.
Metal Gear, to a certain extent. Just more because it's hard to understand what's going on in those games, so you have to think.
I wonder if there will ever be a game that makes me cry.
Gone Home.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I have two more. Lemmings, the original Lemmings, made you think.
Yeah,
And there
definitely.
was a little puzzle game for the original Game Boy called Quirk, Kwirk.
Are you sure it's not Kicks?
Kicks, yeah, I think you're thinking Kicks.
I'm not thinking Kicks. I am thinking Quirk. Google it.
Maybe
It's
Quirk.
It's a little red guy that almost looks like Pac-Man with legs, but he's red.
Okay, yeah, that's not Quirk.
Okay, I'm looking at this. This is a thing. I can verify
pushes
that.
blocks around. It's like a puzzle game, and it was so hard. I think
How do you know he's red? You said it was on original Game Boy.
the cartridge, man, the cartridge,
Yeah, the box art. He's red.
the box art. See, I remember this shit from like 10, 20 years ago.
It's listed under Wikipedia as Quirk, Kwirk.
That's what I said.
That's what he said.
Kwirk.
Maybe I just wasn't listening to you.
You weren't. You
Sounds
don't
like
care.
Boxel. Did you ever play that on original Game Boy?
No.
It's looking like Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle as far
It's
as
kind of
I'm
like what was that other Soboben?
Never played
that
it.
game?
No.
It's like a similar kind of like push block puzzle game.
This thing looks like an enormous piece of shit.
Well, you're wrong.
All right, moving on. Paul in Dublin says, "Hello, James Gunkers. As my Xbox 360 red ringed recently, I started using my son's old Wii for more than just streaming Netflix. Picking up titles secondhand, building a decent little collection based on numerous top 10s and best ofs. Just wondering what Wii game has impressed you all over the years. So far, for me, it's Super Mario Galaxy 2, one of the best games I've played on any platform. Yours, Paul."
Well, yes, Galaxy 1 and 2 would be my recommendations, just because they are amazing. And Galaxy 1, I prefer Galaxy 1, and it not surprisingly, was named number 1 on IGN's list of best games of last generation. I think it is very, very good. I mean, this isn't that new, but I would highly recommend the Metroid Prime trilogy if you can find it. It's kind of tough. And what else? Skyward Sword, but to be fair, I never beat Skyward Sword. But I did beat Twilight Princess, so I gotta give that its fair shake.
No, you don't. That game sucks.
Fuck you. I think that's it for me.
I'll give a slightly different answer just because he asked specifically what impressed us the most. So this may not be the best Wii game, but I thought it was one of the most impressive technically, which was their remake of GoldenEye. I thought what they pulled off with that game was pretty impressive.
I enjoyed that game actually a lot. The only one I would throw in there is Xenoblade Chronicles, just because it impressed me because it was able to capture me for so long, and just the little questing things and being able to run it on the Wii. I enjoy if you like a big, huge game. If you're looking for a big, huge game, although I know it's hard to find as well, so probably not a cheap second-hand game.
Right. Okay, Bill says, hey, Game Junk Men, now that the 360, PS3, and Wii are winding down, how about a favorite game or games of the systems? Obviously, the PS3 and 360 still have some life in them, but most of the games are also coming out on the PS4 and Xbox. Thanks for the podcast. Keep up the good work. Bill. So, favorite PS3, favorite Xbox 360, favorite Wii. Go.
Oh, it's tough. I was just going to do the best out of all of them.
Okay.
I guess Uncharted 2. Maybe Tomb Raider, if I really give it some thought.
For me, Uncharted 2 on PS3, Red Dead Redemption on Xbox, and Wii Sports on Wii.
Wii Sports?
Yep.
I did Uncharted 2 as well. For 360, Gears or the original Mass Effect. For Wii would be Xenoblade. And then I did a top multi-platform, and I'm picking either XCOM or Batman Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
But yeah, Tomb Raider is a good choice too.
Here's another kind of related question from Steven. He says, hey guys, looking forward to a new show. It's been too long. Since the arrival of the new consoles, there's been plenty of bargains to be had on last-gen games. Older games especially. Have you considered going back and playing games that you missed out on during the PS3, Wii, 360 heyday while waiting on content for the PS4 or Xbox One? I just completed X-Men Origins Wolverine on the PS3. Very good game, certainly better than the movie. Now I've started the Saboteur and it seems interesting. Regards, Steven.
Saboteur is a great game. Totally underrated.
Hey, if you're on an X-Men trend, pick up X-Men Destiny.
Yeah, I finally found a copy of it for the Wii, so looking forward to throwing that in one of these days. But
I got my Wii copy too.
Yeah? Nice.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say, I actually was looking forward to, with the new consoles, starting clean and saying, you know what, I'm going to stay on top of things. I'm going to try and play all the games I buy. I won't say try and beat all the games I buy, but, try and play a significant amount of them. And I'm already way behind. It's already a lost cause. So, yeah, I'm probably not going back to much old stuff at this point.
I don't like living in the past unless it's the extreme past.
Yeah.
For retro gaming. The near past is probably the most uninteresting place in the world.
Well, I love living in the past, so I'm going to try to go back and play Metroid Prime Corruption, which I never beat.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Let's do a review of it, man. I'm in for that.
Metroid Prime Corruption?
Yeah.
All right, sure. The Last Story on Wii, I got pretty far in it, but never beat it. I still want to play Beyond Two Souls, which I
actually started playing it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's not too bad, yeah.
And then I don't think I ever played Gears 3 or Gears of War Judgment, which I wouldn't probably mind trying out sometime.
Yeah, I'm full of shit. I kind of want to play all those games, and I
Look at this guy. Go back to your retro lounge.
I talk shit, buddy. It's what I do.
Go back to your retro lounge.
The retro lounge is in shambles right now.
Yeah, I bet.
I've given serious thought to selling my retro game collection.
Really?
How dare you? You can well, as long as you don't sell Wayne Gretzky.
Exactly. You just made the perfect case why I have to keep every game. If I'm keeping that game, I have to keep them all. Makes no sense just to hold on to that.
Okay, we got one from Essie who says, are there any good video games besides Animal Crossing, Kingdom Hearts, and Viva Pinata?
Yes.
Yes. And out of those three, Viva Pinata is the best by far.
Out of those...
I'm kind of thinking she's looking for maybe a recommendation of something related.
I think given what she gave, she probably would like the Pokemon games, because they're kind of like Animal Crossing, and maybe even Minecraft.
Maybe Nintendogs.
Yeah, sure. I don't know what else.
Like, what's with this cliche girl game answers, boys?
What are you talking about?
Think outside the box.
You want to play Minecraft?
Well, we're giving cliched answers because she's giving us cliched games she likes to play.
Well, what's another like Disney game, like Kingdom Hearts?
Here's what I'm thinking: Animal Crossing. Let's go out on a limb, say 3DS, right?
Sure.
What's a perfect game on there for a casual gamer?
Animal Crossing for 3DS.
We've got that covered. I'm thinking.
You know what? The not on 3DS, but the like Lego games might be up her alley.
That's true.
Whatever kind she wants. Indiana Jones or Star Wars or what are the other ones?
Pirates of the Caribbean. Batman,
yeah,
Marvel.
Up there. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe she would be interested in something there.
Sure.
I still feel like we're missing a major game on
The Sims. The Sims is the obvious comparison for something like Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
What about the new? The reviews are terrible. That Tomodachi Life or whatever.
I haven't been following that.
Yeah.
What about?
Actually, the Sims would match up with Viva Pinata pretty well too, because you're both kind of like managing things.
What about Epic Mickey?
No, can't recommend that in good conscience.
Okay.
It's not. It's so. If there's ever been a sin for a game not being colorful, that's the one. It's literally about painting Disney worlds, and it's all brown.
What about Epic Mickey 2? Did you ever play that?
Fuck no.
All right. Moving on. We've got one from Bob in Baltimore. He says, gentlemen, as someone who would play franchise mode in sports games by simulating season after season and just acting as GM, what are the best sports sims out there? I've played Out of the Park Baseball quite a bit, but I usually binge on it for a few days before burning out. Looking forward to their football sim. Something for iOS would be ideal. Also, when is an old video game review podcast cassette going to show up? Bob. Well, I'll have to hunt through my my bins in the crawl space. There might be a cassette tape in there somewhere. I don't know.
I don't think there is.
Probably not.
Just joking. I would love that if there was. I'm going to say my friend obsessively plays Championship Manager, the soccer simulator, on iOS.
Yeah, and there's also, well, I think the big one is Football Manager. I think that's like a console game. I don't think that's an iOS game, but that's a pretty well-known series. But again, soccer, maybe not something somebody in North America is looking for.
I mean, in the past, just the EA games were pretty good for simming.
Yeah. I have one on iOS, also soccer, though. I think it's called New Star Soccer or Superstar. I think it's New Star Soccer. It's an iOS game. Well, it's not all sim, but it's a really good iOS game, sports game.
Yeah, he might also want to check out the Big Win Sports series. It's like a whole series. There's pretty much every sport you could want, and it's kind of a management thing, but it's like a card game too that controls what happens during games. I haven't really delved too much into them, but apparently they're pretty popular. And wasn't there an EA NFL head coach game one year? I don't know if they made multiple ones, but it's probably pretty old
No,
now.
I think they
But
had 2 years. I think 09 and 10, I think.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Well, I don't think so.
All right, well, I played it. It's not good.
All right.
That's a real flashback to my achievement whoring days.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Oh God, I remember trying to get achievements in head coach. I think I did. That's scary.
All right. Nathan has 2 questions. 1, if you could force each other to finish a game that you've not already finished, which game would it be? 2, which video game land would be the scariest to spend a night in?
Sean, did you beat Tomb Raider?
No.
I would force Sean to finish Tomb Raider.
Okay. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind.
I would force Andrew to finish BioShock. Did you finish BioShock Infinite? You did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of like it now. Fuck. All the games you say you hate, you eventually love. Now Skyrim's one of your biggest influences.
I haven't beat Skyrim.
What else? I guess I'll force Andrew to finish Rise.
Son of Rome? Alright, well,
No, I'm going to force you to finish Mass Effect 2.
I have beaten Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 3, then.
I finished that one too.
You did?
Yeah, of course I did.
You finished everything. You're awesome. What else?
Well, I was like, I don't know what the hell I picked for you. What did you not finish?
You know what? I got a game for Essie, too.
Yep.
Zoo Tycoon.
Good one.
Zoo Tycoon.
Or Connectimals.
What's that animal picture-taking game?
Africa.
Africa.
On PS3, which I ordered from some gaming website and never got.
What about that weird Japanese game where it's just like animals in a city or whatever?
Oh, Tokyo Jungle.
Yeah.
That could be a good one, too. That's really more action-based, though. Yeah.
I got one for Frank that I want Frank to finish.
Not that stupid horror game, I hope.
Nope. Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, I do want to finish that game.
Get
If the
to
art
it.
style wasn't so grotesque, I think I'd be more...
You gotta get past that.
Oh, so now you're admitting that the art style is terrible?
No, I think you're hung up on that. And I think it's not... I don't know. That's not at all why I play that game and why I beat it. Like, it's all about the level design.
And I would also force both of you to play and finish Gone Home again.
I never played it once.
Well, that's definitely what I'm making both of you finish.
Fair enough. I want to play it, so...
Okay, go for it. It's a hoot.
So what about his second question?
Scariest worlds?
I'd say Last of Us or Dead Rising, maybe.
Well, probably, if I'm going with the conventional response, I would say maybe Dead Space. But going outside the box, I'm going to say The Sims. Especially based on the new trailer for The Sims 4.
Yeah, I couldn't come up with a very good answer for this one, unfortunately.
You just don't play
Nightmare
enough horror games.
I'll say Nightmare Creatures, maybe. Or... Do you remember that game for PlayStation and Nintendo 64?
Yeah. I'm going to say Leisure Suit Larry something.
That's the best place to spend a night.
I got
Okay.
nothing, really.
All right. Stephen in Dublin says, "Hey guys, great to hear a new episode so soon. Congratulations on the new baby, Sean. Is there any game you can remember that totally stumped you? A point that you got to that you couldn't figure it out? I suppose today you just have to hit up a game FAQ, but years ago that wasn't an option. Also, what are you most excited to play that was announced at E3? Kind of already answered that. All right. This is the weird thing. Like, there's tons of games I'm sure I got stuck on, back in the NES days. I can't remember any specific examples, but I can remember some more recent examples. One that's kind of in between is the Ocarina of Time water temple. Like, that is, like, I literally played to that level and just gave up for years. And then finally, eventually said, you know what, this is a game I probably should finish. And I forced my way through it with the help of a game FAQ, and never looked back after that.
Never looked back or never played it again?
Well, I have played it on the 3DS as well.
Did
but
you finish it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And also another recent example is that Device 6 game, which I mentioned. I found it very off-putting, with especially like the first chapter. I got immediately stuck because you have to kind of understand what kinds of puzzles exist before you really start thinking the way they want you to. So I had to look up some stuff for that first chapter. But and one other thing, Metroid Other M. Do you remember the moments? There's a couple weird moments in that game where you have to like point at something very specific on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it seems like the game is soft locked.
Yep.
Brutal.
That whole game is brutal. Mine, the only ones I could really come up with were old adventure games.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure which is what he was probably implying by older games, but I don't know. I don't know how many times I would call friends to be like, what the hell do you do at this part? And probably every adventure game, actually. I don't think I ever beat a single adventure game.
Yeah, King's Quest 6. I remember even with a guide being like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But I love that game for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And I think, I generally don't get stumped. I'm pretty amazing. So the only other thing I could think of is I had to switch down to easy one of the times I replayed the Ares fight in the original God of War. It was so frustrating. I died so many times. But that's about it.
Well, I guess I could say Last of Us on Survivor mode. Definitely Stumped. And those are kind of like puzzles.
Yeah, and I would also say maybe Modern Warfare 2 on Veteran. The one silo section I could never beat. And I'll say Killzone 2 on hardest. The last level is just...
Yeah, the last boss is super hard.
Yeah, it's fun.
I never beat him either. I got stuck at him, actually. Or do we have a question for that later?
Yes, we do. All right.
Oh, really? Is that what the new question was?
Yeah.
One about being stuck on boss, the final boss or whatever.
All right. Well,
okay. JP in the UK says, "Hey, Button Basher, just had a quick query as to whether or not you find the PS4 a satisfactory Blu-ray player. Primarily used my old PS3, but decided to check out the playback quality functionality when I bought the PS4. Some reviews have stated it's not quite as good as the PS3, and I've noticed a few things that would lead me to agree, such as sound and general menu features. Have you noticed anything slightly lacking? What are your overall thoughts on the PS4's Blu-ray player? Many thanks, JP."
Completely agree. I use my PS3. Not a great remote. Controller doesn't auto shut off if you're watching a movie, so it drains the battery. Revamping the interface for what square and circle buttons do instead of keeping it consistent. Definitely some chinks in the armor here. I think we're going to see a few iterations on this. Hopefully they can come back on this.
Yeah, I haven't used my PS4 for Blu-rays either. I mean, a PS3, like, until they add the media server functionality and stuff like that from the PS3, I'll stick with my PS3. Okay, Austin in Japan says, "Hey guys, surprised you have time to record now that the World Cup has started. Have you ever played a game all the way up to the last boss, only for some reason or another never get around to defeating him and finishing the game off? 3 that I can remember are Zelda on the 64, Paper Mario on the GameCube, and New Super Mario on the Wii. All 3, I reached the last boss, died a couple of times, and thought I'll take a break and go back to it and never turn the game back on again. Crazy, I know. How about you guys? Plus, some bonus speed round questions. back in the day, Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter 2. Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World?
Super Mario World.
World.
Super Mario 3. Super Mario Kart SNES or 64?
64, baby.
SNES.
I would say 64 for the battle mode. But...
64 for the trail mechanic. For trail boost,
yes.
taking turns.
True.
Not even close.
64 also.
Did you watch and enjoy The Wizard as a kid?
No.
Yes.
Yes. If so, did it make you want to buy a Power Glove?
No.
Yes.
No.
Did you eventually buy the Power Glove?
No.
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 All right. Games where you were stuck at the last boss. This happens to me a lot, actually. Probably not that surprising, but the thing for me is, I mean, you've seen all the game has to offer at this point, so it's like if that last boss is just killing you, it's like I'm not that motivated to actually beat it.
I actually got one for this now. There's definitely one. I got the last boss, was so pissed I never finished it. Heavenly Sword.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah. It's too long, too frustrating.
Biggest
you have to
one.
keep hitting these things back. I was fucking snapping. Never finished it.
Biggest one for me is Metroid Prime. That final boss fight is like half an hour long, and after trying over and over again, I was just like, it's not worth it. And
Which final boss fight? What?
It's like the super giant.
Ridley, is it?
Yeah. Maybe there's something I was missing, but
I feel like I never got to that. Didn't you need to collect stones or
Yeah.
something?
Did you? I'm wondering if Dwight thinks he was at the end of the game and he wasn't.
I'm pretty sure it is the end.
Yeah, I never collected the stones. I thought that was after that. I don't know.
Did you collect all the Chozo ruins, Sean?
Yeah.
The artifacts? Okay.
Yeah. But more recently, Guacamelee. Still haven't gone back and tried to beat that. But I think I may.
My goodness, Sean.
It's easier than the snow leopard boss before it.
Jeez, it sure is. What
Sure.
is wrong? Put in 5 minutes right now, you'll beat it.
We'll see.
I have actually Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. I never beat. I found the end area. The guys were just leveled up too high, and I didn't have the patience to grind up my levels so I could do anything. And like we mentioned, Killzone 2, the end boss. And I thought of another one. Zelda? Oh, I guess Wind Waker. We could call Wind Waker. At the end where you need to sail around and collect all those pieces from the ocean. I gave up on that.
Right.
What a pussy.
Yep. Believe it.
All right. Ken in Colorado says, love the show, guys. Are any of you into long strategy games like Civilization, SimCity, or Heroes of Might and Magic? These seem to be just the type of games that Frank would multimedia multitask to. Ken.
No, I'm not at all.
I used to be much more. I was big into Heroes 2 and 3, but I haven't picked... I think they're up to Heroes 6 now. I haven't picked up anyone since Heroes 3. And I recently purchased Europa Universalis 4 on PC, but have not really played it at all. But want to. But that's a really long strategy game.
I feel like this is a genre of game I'd like to get into. I think definitely the amount of time required is a bit of a problem. But I think I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like even the Civilization series, like every time a new one comes out, I think, that sounds kind of cool. Maybe I should give it a whirl, and then I just never really do. So I'm just waiting for that right game to come along maybe and get me into it.
The good thing about them for you is that you'd be able to just kind of play any block of time length and save it and then come back to it. There's no like set levels kind of thing, in most of them anyways, I think.
If they were available for a portable gaming platform, it might be even better.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, so we're gonna head off with we got a couple from Blake in Boston.
He's a real shit talker, this kid.
Yep. Hello, you strong, proud game men. First off, I'm going to make the relatively safe assumption that Frank's completely wrong about Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. People dropped $60 for some nonsensical Zone of the Enders flying robot game they never played just to play the tanker demo for Metal Gear Solid 2. At least,
I'll have you know I beat Zone of the Enders, Blake, in Boston.
At least Kojima offered this for half that price and loaded it full of side content. I've definitely put more time into this quote-unquote demo than other full-price AAA games such as Infamous Second Son. Diatribe.
As I mentioned on our live stream, his name on PlayStation is Solid Blake. I think we're talking to a biased gamer here.
Probably. Diatribe aside, here's a question. What's your take on Naughty Dog's announcement for the remastered edition of The Last of Us? Is this something you'd spend money on, or is 1080p and higher resolution textures not worth the double dippage? Also, are there any other previous gen games that you'd like to see get this treatment? Love always, Blake.
Literally every Wii game in HD, like that Nintendo made, I would love. I would buy them instantly. What else? There's a lot.
I think as long as a game is good or it becomes a collection of games, remastered is good. Or even if it has quality DLC that you might not have bought, like The Last of Us, I think it's worth it.
I'd like to see Nintendo update some Nintendo 64 games, kind of the way they did with 3DS, to the Wii U. I think a high-def, redone Mario 64 would be amazing. That
to me is...
There's Mario 64 redone would be fantastic. That's the number one for me.
Yeah, to me, the N64 PlayStation 1 stuff is the stuff that definitely benefits the most from this, but obviously that's a lot more work as well. I think he is more asking specifically about the last gen games getting upgraded for the next gen. And
Red Dead for sure.
That would be big.
Go through that game again.
I would buy a collection of the Batman Arkham games.
Oh yeah, for sure. Another huge one I'd love, specifically on PlayStation, would be a Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 combined.
Sure.
That'd be good.
Okay. So the last thing is he sent a little rapid fire for us. You guys ready?
All kidding aside, Mike's a great guy. I was just busting his balls.
Well, he was busting your balls, so, you know.
Yeah, you're fucking right he was.
All right, here we go. Frank, best use of comedy in a game?
Ooh, there's not many. Banjo-Kazooie. Maybe South Park Stick of Truth, but I haven't played enough to say for sure.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
It's a good answer.
Definitely South Park for sure.
Yeah, I changed my answer. Conker. I didn't think of it.
Sean, what games do you want to use to introduce your children to this medium? Gotta go with the obvious. Mario Brothers. Anything Mario. Probably start there. See how it goes.
Yeah, I think Metroid's a little too hardcore.
Yeah.
To start.
Andrew, what's the best console controller ever made?
Oh. Probably DualShock 4.
Interesting.
Oh my god. I'm going to say there's three candidates in my opinion. N64, GameCube, and Xbox 360 controller. And it is close.
Have you tried to use a 360 or N64 controller?
Oh,
recently?
yeah.
It's not great.
It was glorious. You know what? I'm going to say N64. Greatest. No. I'm changing my answer.
It only has one analog stick.
I'm going to say greatest controller, GameCube controller.
It only has one analog stick. Unless you count the stupid C button.
Oh, I'm counting it, buddy.
Well, you shouldn't be.
Frank, why all the retro bit art hate?
It's just done. It's the go-to thing now. That's why I'm so refreshed by games like Cuphead and other things we're talking about. It's too easy. It's too easy. Too many games like it. I'm fine with praising indie games for interesting art styles, but when you do it 20 times, it's no longer interesting. And this does not include Fez. Fez to me is not the same level of retro game art. Fez is a unique artistic vision.
Okay. Sean, do you use your PS4 for anything else other than Hulu and Netflix? I do not use it for Hulu or Netflix. I only use my PS3 for that. So I do play games on it exclusively. Andrew, what's the next game from Rockstar you want to see from their existing IP?
Probably a Red Dead follow-up.
Yep. Frank?
Table tennis. I'm not kidding either.
I actually like that game.
It is good. Yeah. Frank, the inevitable decline of that Disney je ne sais quoi quality, is it also apparent in games?
Gonna have to say yes on this one.
Sean, best sci-fi vehicle-based shooter. Oh man,
I've got your answer if you don't have one.
I read the email. I even had the advantage of reading this ahead of time, and I thought I had an answer for this, and now I forget it.
This is kind of a cheat, but I'd say the fucking flying sections in Halo Reach and Halo 4. Or specifically Halo Reach. Those are amazing.
Yeah, but he's the game, and he wants a vehicle-based shooter. Halo's not really vehicle-based.
I thought you'd probably say something stupid like TIE Fighter or some shit
TIE
like
Fighter
that.
is the best one.
I would say Star Fox, probably.
Star Fox.
Nice, I'm in.
I thought you were going to say Resogun, Frank.
It's pretty good, too.
Not bad. Andrew, favorite couch co-op memory or experience?
Don't say beating me at Wayne Gretzky hockey.
Beating Frank at Wayne Gretzky. No. I don't know. I used to have a lot of fun with Mario Kart and, NHL games with people. Even old, like, wrestling games, WrestleMania and stuff like that on the Super Nintendo. Those are always a lot of fun. Royal Rumble.
Nice. Frank, we all know you love exclusivity. What's the gaudiest special edition of a game you have pre-ordered or purchased?
I really don't think I have too many of those. I regret buying the helmet Halo 3, which was like $20 2 weeks later. I don't have any that I truly look at and am in awe of how disgusting they are or how expensive they were. I'm pretty value conscious when it comes to special editions.
So that's it? You got nothing?
Boring answers. Sorry, Blake. Yeah.
One good actually co-op one I have was actually playing Gears 1 with my brother co-op. That was a ton of fun.
Sean, if you could bring any fictional character into a Smash Brothers game, who'd it be, bro? Not that familiar with the series. Maybe this is already in one of them. Pac-Man?
It just got announced for the new one.
Ah, well, there you go.
I got a better answer for you.
What's that?
VVVVV guy.
Sure, that would be cool. Super Meat Boy?
What about Leisure Suit Larry?
Now that's a good idea. I'm down for that. Andrew, what developed
some sort of Commodore 64 Bruce Lee Commodore 64 guy?
Sure. Andrew, what development studio, indie or AAA, do you think would be the most fun to work for?
Naughty Dog.
Frank, current next-gen showpiece / demo disc for your house guests.
Sorry, say that again. Like it has to be out already. Like what I'm
Yeah.
using right now.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8.
Really?
It sings, baby. It fucking sings in HD.
Okay. Sean, what old school adventure game do you want to see get the Grim Fandango treatment? Well, the obvious one would be Day of the Tentacle. That's probably the more likely one to happen. But if I really dig deep...
The answer's in Game Junk's history.
It is?
Maniac Mansion.
Well, yeah, but no, I'm going to dig a little deeper than that, and I'm going to say Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders, which was one of the follow-ups to Maniac Mansion, and I never really got a chance to play it more than a little bit.
You don't have Zach McCracken original PC box on your desk at work.
Yeah, but I'm saying sometimes it's more exciting to get a chance to play a game that you never played fully before.
Yeah, I hear you.
For the first
No,
time.
I don't want to. I've never looked inside your Maniac Mansion box. Does
Yeah.
it have the floppies in there? What are we looking at in there? Is it just a porn hiding spot? What are you using?
It's got a floppy and not much else. It may have one of those inserts with some clues or hints on it. I don't remember.
All right.
Andrew, any next-gen games showing up at the library, bud?
Yes, actually a whole bunch were. I saw Ground Zeroes. Basically every PS4 game that's out was at the library last time I checked.
Nice.
Pretty excited.
Frank, once Xbox...
Does this guy have a job or what?
No. This is still going, man. Still going.
Holy crow.
I think he expected us to answer a lot quicker. Frank, once Xbox One becomes more popular than the PS4, will you reverse your underdog stance?
Yes, immediately.
Sean, are you using your Vita? I barely touch mine. Hey, it's the only thing I play games on right now. Andrew, what's the best game to exercise your extreme road rage with?
GTA 5.
Sure. Good answer.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Frank, first fictional video game character that pops in your mind when you're jerking it.
I don't think I've ever jerked off to a video game character.
Please.
Let's say,
Come on, it has to be Lara.
I'm going to say Daisy.
What? Sean.
Or, yeah, Daisy in Toadstool Tour in her little golfing outfit.
Sean, as a parent, does the Wii U appeal to you more? Doesn't appeal to me more, but it's a good excuse to buy one, I guess. Andrew, of the hosts of this show, who's the best gamer of the bunch? Judging from your live streams, you are all terrible at games.
To be fair, I'm usually
It's not Sean.
I'm pretty juiced during live streams, so
Sure you are.
I would say it's me because obviously I beat Frank at Wayne Gretzky and Sean's not even in the competition. So
I want to take you on NHL.
okay, let's do it.
All right, that wraps it up right there.
No,
All right, so that wraps it up for another episode of Game Junk. Once again, very long. Thanks for sticking with us. Upcoming releases, there's not really too much worth mentioning. I mean, the big ones, I will say, there's a new Transformers game coming later this month. Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark. Child of Light's coming to the Vita on July 1st. I'll probably check it out. Dark Souls 2 DLC on July 22nd. Last of Us Remastered July 29th. Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition August 19th. And then getting into September, we've got Hyrule Warrior September 23rd. Forza Horizon 2 September 30th. Alien Isolation October 7th. Dragon Age 3 Inquisition October 7th. NBA 2K15 October 7th. Drive Club also October 7th. Borderlands the pre-sequel October 14th. And Assassin's Creed Unity October 28th. And that's pretty much it. I think Halo: The Master
And
Chief
Citizens
Collection.
of Earth, sometimes in October.
Oh, so do you guys don't actually have the actual date yet?
No, it's not finalized. But
Okay.
And we're Lost Orbit's end of summer, probably as well. So
Nice.
Oh, that's soon. Nice.
yeah, I'm on.
So yeah, I don't know.
I will also say, in the past with previous systems, the friend limits have been capped. I encourage any listener to add me on Xbox or PlayStation, especially if they want to play maybe some Call of Duty Extinction or other games. Dirty Frank with 3 R's and Dirty on both.
Okay. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at GameJunkPodcast. Send your junk mail to GameJunkPodcast@gmail.com. And check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/GameJunk. We try to post news every so often, keep the discussion going. That's pretty much it. So thanks for tuning in. You can follow us all individually on Twitter at Dirty Frank with 3 R's and Dirty, at My Angry Commute, and at Film Junk. And until next time, see you guys later. Bye-bye.